Good evening, my friends. Tonight I want to share with you the single most powerful money secret I have ever discovered. A trick so simple that most people overlook it entirely, yet so profound that it can transform your entire relationship with abundance. You look at money and think it is something outside of you. Distant, difficult, almost unattainable. This is how you were taught to see it, as if it were a whimsical entity that chooses to appear for some and abandon others. But I tell you, with the conviction of one who knows the law, this is an illusion. And as long as you treat money as a stranger, it will remain an outsider in your life. Tonight I am going to teach you to do something that will seem strange at first, perhaps even foolish. I am going to teach you to treat money like a person, a living, responsive presence that hears you, responds to you, and moves toward you or away from you based on how you speak to it and about it. This is not metaphor. This is not whimsy. This is the practical application of a profound spiritual law. What you treat as alive gains life within you, and what you welcome as close draws near. Let me begin by sharing a story that will illustrate exactly what I mean. Just last month, a gentleman came to my lecture who had been struggling financially for years. He was a hard-working man, intelligent and capable, yet money seemed to slip through his fingers no matter what he did. As we spoke after the lecture, I noticed something remarkable about the way he talked about money. He spoke of it with contempt, with resentment, with suspicion. Money is the root of all evil, he said. Rich people are greedy. Money corrupts everything it touches. I hate dealing with money. It's such a burden. I stopped him and said, "My friend, imagine if there were a person standing beside you right now, listening to every word you just spoke. Imagine this person has the power to help you, to flow into your life abundantly, to solve your problems. But they have just heard you say that they are evil, that they corrupt everything, that you hate dealing with them. How long do you think this person would stay in your presence?" He looked at me, stunned. "Not long, I suppose." "Exactly," I replied. "And this is precisely what you do with money every day. You speak of it as though it were an enemy, a burden, a corrupting force. And then you wonder why it stays away from you." I taught this man to completely transform his relationship with money by treating it as he would a valued friend. Every morning he would sit quietly and speak to money as though it were a person sitting across from him. He would say, "Good morning. Thank you for being in my life. I appreciate you. I honor you. I know you are always flowing to me." At first he felt foolish doing this, but I explained that his subconscious mind does not distinguish between a person and a concept. It only responds to the feeling and attitude he holds. By treating money as a living presence worthy of respect and gratitude, he was programming his subconscious to attract rather than repel abundance. Within 3 months, his financial situation had completely transformed. Unexpected opportunities appeared. Money came to him from sources he never anticipated. His business suddenly flourished. He had not changed his actions, he had changed his relationship, his conversation, his attitude toward money itself. You see, everything you call reality is merely a reflection of the state you silently maintain within yourself. If money seems absent, it is because deep down you have driven it away through the tone of your internal conversation. If it seems scarce, it is because in your heart you have seen it as distant, as separate, as something that belongs to others but not to you. The mistake that ordinary people make is to supplicate, to complain, to beg, as if money were a cruel master distributing favors according to some mysterious criteria. But I tell you, money is a servant, not a master. It responds to the inner voice with the same precision that an echo responds to a mountain. What you affirm in silence, it returns in form. Think about how you actually speak about money throughout your day. Do you say, "I can't afford that"? That is speaking to money as though it were absent. Do you say, "Money is so hard to come by"? That is telling money to stay away. Do you look at wealthy people with resentment and think, "They have it all while I have nothing"? That is creating a wall of separation between yourself and abundance. The visible world has no power to decide how much you will have. It merely bows to what has already been decreed in the invisible realm of your consciousness. If you speak with despair, money hears you and moves away. If you speak with gratitude and certainty, it inclines toward you and stays. Let me be absolutely clear about this. It is not your bank balance that dictates the tone of your conversation. It is your internal state that decides what will be reflected in your bank balance. Just as the sun does not need the clouds' approval to shine, your consciousness does not need external permission to decree abundance. When you begin to understand that money is not just a distant abstraction but a reality that molds itself to the state you maintain, the first practical step is to learn to speak to it as if it were already present. Think about this carefully. When you talk to a person, you do not doubt whether they are there or not. You do not close your eyes and wonder if you will be heard. You simply speak, and there is a natural certainty that someone on the other side is receiving your words. It is precisely this state of normalcy, of quiet conviction, that you must bring to your relationship with money. The mistake many make is to talk about money like someone pleading or someone fearful. They ask like supplicants. They murmur like those afraid to lose. And thus they establish a dialogue of absence rather than presence. But when you speak to money as if it were already sitting beside you, as if it were already flowing abundantly in your life, you activate within yourself the only language the universe understands, the language of assumption. For it is not the quantity of words nor the intensity of the voice that moves reality. It is the quality of the assumed state. Imagine thanking money as you would thank a friend who has just extended a hand to help you. You do not look at a friend fearing they will disappear the next moment. You trust their presence. You honor them. You acknowledge the gesture and respond with gratitude. So too with money. When you address it this way, not as a beggar, but as a host receiving an expected guest, your mind stops vibrating at the frequency of lack and begins to emit the only vibration that creates, the vibration of already having. Let me give you a practical example. A woman came to me who was drowning in debt. Every time she looked at her bills, she would say, "I hate this, I can't deal with this, money is such a problem in my life." I taught her to completely change this conversation. Instead of cursing her bills, I taught her to thank them. Thank you, money, for flowing through my life. I appreciate you for allowing me to exchange you for services I have received. I know more of you is always coming to me. At first she thought I was asking her to lie to herself, but I explained that she was not lying. She was choosing which reality to align with. There is a dimension of consciousness where money is already flowing abundantly to her. By speaking from that dimension, she was claiming it as her reality. Within weeks, her entire experience with money began to shift. The anxiety dissolved. Solutions appeared. Money came to her in unexpected ways. She had learned to speak money's language, the language of welcome, appreciation, and assured expectation. The second great truth you must understand is this. There is no separation between you and money, none whatsoever. The ordinary person looks at their bank account, sees low numbers, and says, "I don't have money." But that is the great lie that sustains scarcity. When you declare you do not have, you establish an invisible wall between yourself and what you desire. And since everything in the world is merely a reflection of consciousness, this wall becomes real, blocking manifestation. Money is not outside waiting for permission to come to you. It already exists, and its presence is attracted or repelled by the state you assume. Think of a child who hears their parents call. The child does not question whether to answer or not. They recognize the voice and respond immediately. So too with money. It does not come because the external world brought it to you. It comes because your consciousness called it. It is necessary to abandon the idea that prosperity is a distant privilege or a stroke of luck reserved for a chosen few. Prosperity is an inevitable reflection of those who understand their unity with it. If you see money as separate, distant, unattainable, you will always live trying to conquer what can never unite with you. But if you dare to see yourself as already united with money, as someone who carries that reality within your own being, the reflection will have no choice but to bow to the state you have assumed. I remember a young man who came to me with this exact problem. He would see wealthy people and think, "They have what I lack, they are over there with abundance, and I am over here with scarcity." This thought created an impenetrable barrier between himself and prosperity. I taught him to change his perception entirely. When you see someone with money, I said, do not see it as proof that you lack. See it as proof that money exists, that it flows, that it is available. See it as a reminder that the same source that created their abundance is within you. They are not separate from you. They are you, expressing in a different form. He practiced seeing all money, whether in his own hands or in the hands of others, as confirmation of his own unity with abundance. Within months, his income had tripled. He had dissolved the wall of separation by recognizing that money was not out there, but was an expression of the consciousness he carried within. Look at the world with different eyes. Every coin that circulates, every transaction, every visible abundance is not a sign that you lack something. It is a reminder that the same source that moves them resides within you. When you feel separated, the sight of another's wealth awakens envy and resentment. But when you recognize unity, the abundance of others becomes a confirmation of your own. The third step in treating money like a person is understanding that words alone are not enough. You must feel. Words without feeling are empty, like a body without a soul. You can repeat 1,000 times that you are prosperous, but if within you carries the weight of lack, the world will respond to what truly vibrates in your consciousness, not to your empty words. The key is to wear the feeling of abundance like someone putting on an invisible garment that shapes their posture, their breathing, their gaze. Close your eyes right now and allow yourself to experience this. Imagine holding paper currency in your hands. Feel the texture, smell the distinct scent, sense the weight. Mentally hear the sound of coins dropping into your palm, of a merchant thanking you for your purchase. See your bank statement overflowing with abundance. Feel the peace of paying everything with plenty left over. Notice the lightness in your body, the body of one who does not fear tomorrow, who does not worry about survival, who rests in the certainty of abundant supply. These are not useless fantasies. They are seeds sown in the fertile ground of imagination, and everything conceived there, enveloped in true emotion, must be born into the visible world. Do not underestimate the power of feeling. Imagination is the womb of all creation, and what is generated there wrapped in genuine emotion cannot be prevented from manifesting by any external circumstance. I knew a businessman who practiced this technique with remarkable discipline. Every evening before sleep, he would spend 10 minutes feeling what it was like to be abundantly wealthy. He would feel the security, the freedom, the generosity that abundance allowed. He would experience the joy of giving, the peace of having more than enough, the confidence of knowing his family was provided for. He did not just think about these things, he felt them in his body. His breathing would deepen, his shoulders would relax, a smile would cross his face. He was not pretending to feel abundant, he was actually generating the feeling of abundance through the power of imagination. Within a year, his business had grown beyond his wildest expectations. Money flowed to him from multiple sources. Opportunities appeared that he could never have consciously planned. His subconscious mind, impressed with the feeling of abundance, had reorganized his entire world to match that feeling. Look within yourself right now and notice the contrast. When you think of financial struggle, your body contracts, your breath becomes shallow, your heart races with anxiety. This is the feeling of lack, and it creates more lack. But when you wear the feeling of abundance, there is an openness, an expansion, a peaceful confidence that no external circumstance can steal. This state is the invisible proof that the work has been done in consciousness. The mistake of many is to wait to feel abundant only after money appears. But that is the greatest deception. The world does not bring abundance so that you may feel prosperous. You feel prosperous first, and then the world is compelled to bow to that state. This is the inverted order that keeps people trapped in cycles of struggle. They say, I'll be grateful when the money comes. But the law says, be grateful now and the money must come. The fourth principle in treating money like a person is this: you cannot attract what you despise. Many say they want to prosper, but within themselves they carry resentment and distrust toward money. They criticize those who have it. They judge the wealthy as though they were corrupt. They treat abundance as something dirty or shameful, and yet they expect money to flow into their lives. I tell you that is impossible. What you reject, what you curse in thought, can never remain by your side. Money, like any living presence you welcome, needs to be treated with respect, not as a lord to be worshipped, but as an honored guest to be received. If someone were received in your home with disdain, mockery, and distrust, how long would they stay? So it is with money. If you treat it as a burden, as an enemy, as a necessary evil, it will have no reason to remain. But if you honor it, if you recognize in it the possibility of expressing gratitude, generosity, and fulfillment, it will stay and multiply. You can see this pattern in your own life. How many times have you looked at a bill with anger and muttered curses? How many times have you spent money with guilt, as if the act of using it was shameful? This pattern is a subtle rejection, an invisible message you send saying, I do not want you in my life. And the law, which never fails, responds by moving money further away. A woman came to me who had this exact pattern. She would receive money and immediately feel guilty about having it. She would spend it quickly, almost unconsciously, as though she did not deserve to keep it. She criticized wealthy people, calling them selfish and greedy. She saw money as the root of all problems. I said to her, you are treating money like an enemy, and then wondering why it will not stay with you. Imagine if you treated a person this way, receiving them with suspicion, getting rid of them as quickly as possible, speaking ill of anyone who kept their company. Would that person remain your friend? She understood immediately. I taught her to change her entire attitude toward money. Instead of complaining when bills arrived, she began thanking money for flowing through her life. Instead of criticizing the wealthy, she began celebrating their abundance as proof of what was possible. Instead of spending with guilt, she began using money with gratitude and purpose. The transformation was remarkable. Money began to stay with her. Opportunities to earn more appeared. Her relationship with abundance shifted from one of hostility to one of partnership. Change begins when you decide to re-educate your inner attitude. Instead of complaining, give thanks. Instead of envying, celebrate. Instead of suspecting, trust. Money is neither a curse nor a blessing in itself. It is merely an expression of the state you assume. If you receive it with disdain, it becomes scarce. If you receive it with honor, it multiplies. But do not confuse respect with worship. Worshipping money is to make yourself its slave, to think that your life will only have value if the numbers are large. Respecting money is to treat it as an ally, as a presence that serves your higher purpose, as an instrument that responds to the call of consciousness. That is the difference between living in anxiety and living in peace. Now the fifth and final principle is this. You must live as one who already has, not as one who is waiting to receive. Most people live waiting for circumstances to change first, and then they will change their attitude. They say, when I have money, I will be generous. When I am prosperous, I will live in peace. When my bank account is full, then I will feel abundant. But that is the greatest deception. The world does not bring abundance so that you may feel prosperous. You feel prosperous first, and then the world is compelled to bow to that state. He who waits never harvests, because waiting is an eternal postponement. Tomorrow becomes an excuse not to assume today the posture of what already is. And as long as you live as if you are still lacking, reality has no choice but to show you more of what you maintain. The law is clear. The reflection can only reproduce the image before the mirror. If you see yourself as lacking, the world will show you lack. If you see yourself as abundant, abundance must become visible. Living as one who already has does not mean going out and spending recklessly. It means walking with the confidence of one who knows there is no lack. It is making decisions without the burden of fear. It is holding your head high in situations that would previously make you shrink. It is speaking as one who has already been provided for, even if there is no visible sign yet. This inner posture is the key that opens all doors. I remember a young man who understood this principle perfectly. He had very little money, but he refused to live in the consciousness of poverty. He walked with confidence. He spoke with certainty. He made decisions from abundance rather than lack. When friends would complain about money, he would respond with gratitude for all he had. When opportunities arose, he would act without hesitation, knowing he was provided for. People were drawn to his energy. Opportunities appeared. Money came to him in unexpected ways. Within 2 years, he had built a thriving business. He had not waited for abundance to appear before living abundantly. He had lived abundantly first, and the external world had conformed to his internal state. Look at anyone who has achieved great prosperity. Before they were rich in the world, they were rich in their internal state. They already saw themselves as worthy. They already spoke as masters of themselves. They already walked with the certainty that they possessed. Money merely bowed to that vision. That is why even in the midst of crisis, some prosper while others perish. It is not external events that decide outcomes. It is the internal state that each person maintains. If you desire abundance, start now to live as one who already has. Do not wait for your bank account to change to feel free. Feel free, and the account will have to change. Do not wait for a raise to feel valued. Feel valued, and the raise will come. Do not wait for external signs to believe it is possible. Believe, and the signs will come as a consequence. Courage lies in acting as a creator, not as a beggar. The beggar asks and waits. The creator commands and assumes. As long as you live begging for changes, you will remain a slave to appearances. But the moment you assume the position of owner, of master, of someone who already has, all creation will respond in obedience. Now that the truth has been placed before you, there are no more excuses. You know that money is not a distant enemy, nor a judge who decides whether or not to bless your life. It is merely a reflection of the state you silently maintain. If until today you have lived begging, waiting for something external to change, so that you might finally feel prosperous, the time has come to reverse that order. For nothing from outside has the power to create. The power has always been in you and has always been within. Treat money as a living person. Speak to it as you would an intimate friend. Say, "Thank you for being here. I know you always arrive at the right time. I feel your constant presence in my life." Do this not as mechanical repetition, but as the expression of a growing conviction. Abandon the illusion of separation. Recognize that there is no distance between you and money. It is part of your life, like the air you breathe, like the sun that warms you. Wear the feeling of abundance. Let it shape your posture, your decisions, your entire way of being. Honor money with respect, not as something to worship, but as an ally in expressing your highest purpose. And walk as one who already possesses, not as one who waits. These are not empty pieces of advice. They are commandments of the law that governs all creation. The visible world is shadow, reflection, echo. The true reality is the one you assume within yourself, and it is the only one that never fails to project itself. Therefore I tell you, stop begging, stop waiting, stop looking at appearances as if they were masters of your life. You are a creator, and the creator does not ask permission. Command in silence, sustain in certainty, vibrate in the assumed state, and the world, however resistant it may seem, will have no choice but to obey. Leave here today with a new attitude, not as someone who seeks, but as someone who already possesses. Not as a servant, but as a master. Not as one lacking, but as an heir of infinite abundance. For everything already is, and everything is already within you. Money will not come because you beg. It will come because you dare to assume the place from which you should never have departed. The place of one who creates through imagination and sustains through faith. And when this becomes your truth, you will see that abundance was never absent. It was merely awaiting your acknowledgement, your welcome, your conversation. Speak to money like a person. Treat it as a friend, and watch as it responds to your call. As always, thank you for joining me on this journey into the depths of consciousness. Remember, you are not here by accident. You are here because your soul is ready for this truth. Take these teachings and let them transform not just your mind, but your entire reality. Until we meet again in consciousness, keep assuming your greatness and living from the end of your desires. This is Best of Lectures. I will see you in the next video.
What if I told you that the most successful people on earth have discovered a secret so powerful, yet so simple, that it sounds almost too good to be true? What if the answer to everything you've been chasing, wealth, love, success, peace, isn't found in doing more, but in doing less? The world has convinced you that victory comes from hustle, from grinding, from never giving up the fight. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Every master, every millionaire, every person living their dream life has discovered the same secret, and it happens in complete silence. Think about it. While everyone else is running around like headless chickens, complaining about how hard life is, the truly successful ones, they're sitting quietly. They're listening. They're accessing a power that the masses don't even know exists. And today, I'm going to share that exact same secret with you. But first, let me tell you about the greatest lie ever told. Society has programmed you to believe that if you're not constantly moving, constantly doing, constantly achieving, you're somehow failing. They've made you afraid of stillness. They've convinced you that quiet equals laziness, that rest equals weakness. This is by design, because when you're constantly busy, constantly distracted, constantly chasing the next thing, you never discover the incredible power that lives within you. You never access the voice that could change everything. You remain trapped in the hamster wheel of endless effort, with minimal results. But what if I told you that some of the most powerful moments in human history happened not in boardrooms or battlefields, but in complete silence? What if the greatest inventions, the most profound insights, the most life-changing realizations all came from people who dared to be still? You've done enough chasing, enough writing, enough planning. The answers you desperately seek cannot be found in the noise of the world. They wait in the silence, where only the faithful dare to go. Don't move, don't write, just listen. Because here's what the top 1% know that you don't. The person who truly listens can never be defeated. There is a voice, quiet, constant, and true whispering from within you right now. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg for your attention like your phone, like the endless distractions around you. It waits patiently for the moment when you finally put the pen down, take your hands off the wheel, and become still enough to hear it. This voice speaks your future. This voice already sees you victorious. It doesn't tell you to try. It tells you to know. It doesn't give you hope. It gives you certainty. It doesn't promise that things might work out. It shows you that they already have, in the realm where all things are first created before they appear in your physical world. Every time you sit in silence and listen to that inner assurance, saying you already have it, you move mountains. Every time you resist the urge to chase, and instead align inwardly, you rewrite the world without lifting a finger. But here's what will blow your mind. Most people spend their entire lives trying to move mountains with their bare hands, when they could be moving them with their consciousness. They exhaust themselves, pushing against circumstances, fighting against conditions, struggling against what is, never realizing that the real power lies in changing what is from within. You see, there are two worlds operating simultaneously. There's the outer world, the one you see with your eyes, the one that seems so solid and unchangeable. And then there's the inner world, the realm of consciousness, imagination, and infinite possibility. The outer world is just a shadow of the inner world. When you change something in the inner world, the outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match. This isn't wishful thinking or New Age nonsense. This is the fundamental principle behind every great achievement in human history. People will ask, how did you do it? And you'll smile, because you didn't do anything. You listened, and listening became your power. Here's a shocking truth that will disturb you. We're living in the noisiest era in human history. Not just external noise, though that's certainly overwhelming, but internal noise. The constant chatter in your mind. The endless stream of thoughts, worries, plans, and distractions. This noise is killing your dreams. Every successful person, every spiritual master, every individual who has transcended ordinary limitations has learned to quiet this noise. They've discovered that beneath the mental static lies a profound intelligence, a creative force that knows exactly how to bring about any desired outcome. But you can't access this intelligence while your mind is racing. You can't hear divine guidance while you're drowning in mental chatter. You can't receive inspiration while you're busy generating desperation. The solution? Strategic stillness. Imagination speaks, but not to the busy, not to the frantic, not to the doubting. It speaks to the one who closes their eyes and listens in faith. Not for proof, not for permission, but for the knowing that it is already done. Your imagination isn't just your ability to daydream or fantasize. It's literally the creative power of the universe expressing itself through you. When you imagine something, really imagine it, with feeling and conviction. You're not just entertaining yourself. You're actually creating in the invisible realm. Every single thing that exists in your physical world first existed in someone's imagination. The device you're using to read this, someone imagined it first. The building you're in, someone saw it in their mind before it was ever constructed. The life you're living right now, it first took shape in the realm of imagination, either yours or someone else's. When you listen, you win, because in the stillness you become the one who already has it. You hear yourself as wealthy. You hear yourself as loved. You hear yourself as healed, whole, successful. And what you hear inwardly and consistently must show itself outwardly. This isn't a metaphor. This isn't symbolic. This is the literal mechanism by which your outer world is created and maintained. Your imagination is the control room of your life experience. So today, let the world spin. Let others chase. You sit quietly, listen carefully, and possess completely. Here's something that will shock you. True creation begins in stillness, not in motion, not in force, not in striving, but in the silence between thoughts, in the sacred stillness of being. Think about the most creative moments of your life. Were you struggling and straining when the best ideas came? Or were you relaxed, maybe in the shower, or taking a walk, or just before falling asleep? The greatest insights always come when the mind is still. This world, as you know it, is merely a reflection, a mirror casting back the state of your inner world. Yet few ever stop long enough to see this truth. They rush, they plan, they push. But the secret, the true alchemy of life is stillness. You are not here to force outcomes. You are here to realize them. And realization doesn't come by movement. It arrives in quiet. When the noise fades and the mind sinks back into its source, something miraculous happens. You begin to remember who you really are. Not the struggling, striving person you've been taught to identify with, but the powerful, creative being you actually are. You remember that you're not separate from the creative force of the universe. You are that creative force, expressing itself as you. You cannot hear the music of your destiny when your soul is filled with noise. You cannot feel the movement of spirit when your hands are too busy trying to control every detail. But when you become still, deeply, deliberately still, something miraculous begins to stir. You begin to remember. You remember that you were never meant to chase. You were meant to become. Here's what seems impossible, but is absolutely true. Stillness is not passivity. It's not weakness. It's not giving up or checking out. Stillness is power restrained, awareness uncluttered, presence untouched by the distractions of the world. It's in this stillness that imagination becomes clear, that the inner voice is heard, and that the invisible world begins to shape the visible. The moment you close your eyes and turn away from the five senses, you return to the secret place, the origin of all that appears real. And there, in that silent inner world, you find that creation doesn't require effort, only awareness. The greatest leaders in history knew this secret. They understood that real power comes not from controlling everything externally, but from mastering the inner realm where all external things originate. Everything you desire, the love, the wealth, the healing, the success, it already exists. But it exists in the unseen. To touch it, to claim it, you must become still enough to see it in your mind and feel it in your soul. You cannot attract what you have not. First become in spirit. And becoming is not achieved through action, but through surrender. Surrender to the silence, to the knowing that what is truly yours is already yours. Most people are trying to attract their desires, from a state of lack. They're trying to draw something to them that they don't feel they already have. But this very effort reinforces the experience of not having it. The real secret is becoming. When you become wealthy in consciousness, wealth flows to you effortlessly. When you become loved in your inner world, love surrounds you in your outer world. When you become successful in your imagination, success becomes your reality. Many fear stillness because it reveals what's really there. In movement, you can avoid yourself. In action, you can pretend. But in stillness, there's nowhere to run. You come face to face with your own beliefs, your assumptions, your fears. But don't be afraid. It's only in facing them that you can dissolve them. And once they're gone, you're left with truth. The truth that you are not separate from what you seek. You are it. Let me share something that will change everything for you. It's not what you write, nor what you say aloud, that holds the true power to change your life. It's what you hear quietly, consistently, and inwardly. This is the great mystery most overlook. The inner ear is the true gateway to creation. What you listen to within yourself, you eventually embody, and what you embody, you express. The outer world is simply the echo of your inner hearing. Most people are destroying their dreams without even knowing it. They speak words of faith while inwardly rehearsing doubt. They write affirmations, but fall asleep to the inner dialogue of fear. They speak of success, but listen to the internal voice, telling them they're not enough. This contradiction is why so many remain stuck. The world responds not to what you say, but to what you inwardly accept as true. You become what you consistently hear in the silence of your being. When no one is watching, when the world is quiet, the voice within speaks. If you hear lack, if you hear rejection, if you hear fear, your life will shape itself accordingly. But if you hear abundance, if you hear worthiness, if you hear peace, then even without saying a word, your world will rise to meet that vibration. There's no deception in the inner ear. It reveals exactly where your faith lives. You may fool others with bold speech, but you cannot fool the law of consciousness. The voice you return to again and again, in the still moments of the day, that is the voice creating your tomorrow. You always have a choice. To tune in to the voice of limitation, or to the whisper of truth. This is why silence is sacred. It reveals what's truly at work within you. And once you're aware of what you're inwardly hearing, you have the power to change it. Not through force, but through gentle repetition. Through choosing again and again to listen to the voice that tells you all things are possible. You are worthy. You are already it. Your inner hearing is your true teacher. It guides you, corrects you, inspires you. It's not the loud voice of the world, but the quiet, unwavering tone of knowing. You cannot hear it when your mind is busy. You cannot access it when you're rushing. But when you sit in stillness and close the outer ear, the inner ear opens wide. And what you hear there, in that secret chamber of the soul, is what you will live. All transformation begins with a shift in what you inwardly listen to. If you wish to change your life, change what you hear. Stop giving energy to voices of criticism, of defeat, of fear. These are old recordings, and they are not you. Instead, tune in to the voice that already sees you as whole, successful, and free. It's there. It has always been there, waiting. Even now, in this moment, it speaks softly, calmly, confidently. You are more than enough. You are already chosen. Nothing is missing. Can you hear it? Can you quiet the noise long enough to truly listen? Here's the paradigm shift that separates winners from everyone else. Effort is the enemy of faith. The more you strive, the more you affirm that what you desire is not yet yours. And so the chase continues, and fulfillment slips further from reach. But there's another way, a higher way, where you stop trying and start trusting. You don't push, you allow. You don't chase, you choose. You don't beg, you become. Faith doesn't require effort. It requires surrender. To trust is to know, not to hope with doubt behind your eyes, but to rest in the assurance that what you have imagined is already established in the unseen. This world is not changed by your force. It's changed by your assumption. When you stop trying to make something happen, and instead assume the state of the one for whom it has already happened. Reality bends to reflect that change. Trying keeps you in the state of wanting. Trusting places you in the state of having. And what you have in consciousness will soon become visible in form. There's no need to strain. The universe doesn't respond to how hard you work. It responds to how deeply you believe. All creation begins with inner conviction, not outer effort. This is the invitation. Step out of the chase. Step into the knowing. You don't need to keep proving yourself. You don't need to keep asking. You only need to receive. And receiving requires stillness. It requires listening. It requires alignment with what already exists within you. Because all things truly are within. They're not outside waiting to be won. They're inside waiting to be accepted. To stop trying doesn't mean to do nothing. It means to stop the inner struggle. It means to lay down the weapons of fear and control, and to walk boldly into the identity that matches your desire. The moment you say within yourself, I am already this, the world begins to move in harmony with your new belief. But as long as you continue to chase the thing, you declare its absence. And what you declare, you create. Let go of the need to force. Drop the habit of questioning how and when. These are the burdens of the doubter. You are not here to carry them. You are here to dwell in the state of already being. You are here to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and to rest in that feeling as if it were the only truth. Trust is not blind. It sees clearly. It sees through appearances and holds fast to the unseen reality. Trust knows that the seed already planted will bloom, even before a single leaf appears. Trust doesn't dig up the soil every day to check. It waters, it waits, it believes. When you stop trying, the noise quiets, the resistance melts, and something far greater begins to work through you. You're no longer the one making it happen. You become the one for whom it is happening. This is the shift. This is the key. So don't move. Don't strive. Don't exhaust yourself in pursuit. Close your eyes. Go within. Feel the joy of already being it. Let that be your only effort. The gentle effort of inner alignment. Because the truth is simple. You don't get what you chase. You get what you are. And to become it, you must trust it. Trust the process. Trust the voice within. Trust the power that has never failed and never will. Stop trying. Start trusting. And watch the world give you what was already yours. Every word you hear within yourself is a seed. It may seem small, silent, and invisible, but it carries within it the full potential of a new world. When you listen in silence, when you allow yourself to hear without resistance, you're not merely daydreaming or escaping. You are planting. You are sowing thoughts into the deep, unseen soil of consciousness. And that soil is always fertile. It doesn't question. It doesn't resist. It simply receives and brings forth after its kind. There's no wasted word in the inner world. Every phrase, every idea, every whispered belief that you accept and repeat within yourself takes root. Some grow quickly. Some lie dormant until watered with repetition. But they all grow. Not by your labor, not by your striving, but by your faith in their reality. You see, consciousness is not passive. It's alive. It's the creative force that shapes your outer world from your inner assumptions. The moment you allow a new idea to settle within, truly settle, without doubt or contradiction, you have activated a seed. And like all seeds, it doesn't need you to constantly check on it. It needs you to trust. This is why silence is powerful. Not because nothing is happening, but because everything is. It's in silence that you finally stop scattering your energy. You stop pushing, reacting, and resisting. You become still, and in that stillness, your true desires rise to the surface. And when you hear them clearly, inwardly, without noise, you begin to plant with intention. It's not the loud outer voice that creates. It's the still inner one, that voice that says, I am well, I am whole, I am already what I desire to be. These are not just affirmations, they are seeds, and when repeated in the quiet chambers of the soul, they begin to reshape everything around you. But you must be mindful of what you're planting. The inner world doesn't distinguish between good or bad, wanted or unwanted. It simply accepts what you repeatedly say and feel. If you say, nothing ever works for me, that too is a seed, and it will grow. If you say, I'm always lucky, that also is a seed, and it too will bear fruit. The soil of consciousness is not partial. It yields to the sower. So listen carefully, speak carefully, think carefully, because each word is a creative act. Each inner statement is a blueprint, and over time, what you have planted will rise, not suddenly, not all at once, but surely. That's the nature of the seed. You don't need to shout it. You don't need to force it. Whisper it in faith. Let it settle. Let it take root. Then live your life in quiet expectancy, knowing the harvest will arrive. This is the secret of all transformation. It begins not with action, but with attention. Attention to what you're saying within yourself. When you sit in silence and hear the truth of who you are, not the noise of the world, but the truth, you're doing more than imagining. You're creating. You're directing the future by what you believe in the present. And belief is not shown by outer declarations. It's revealed by the still, persistent inner voice. So guard your inner speech. Nourish it. Let your words within be soft, sure, and aligned with the life you wish to live. Because whether you recognize it or not, you're always planting. Every word is a seed. Every silence is an opportunity. And the more you listen in faith, the more your life becomes a garden of everything you once only imagined. Your imagination is always speaking. It whispers softly beneath the noise of daily life, beneath the obligations, the fears, the questions, the constant need to make things happen. It doesn't shout. It doesn't argue. It speaks in images, in feelings, in subtle nudges that pull you toward your deepest truth. But the question isn't whether it speaks. The question is, are you listening? You were never meant to control the how. That burden was never yours. Life doesn't respond to control. It responds to alignment. And alignment begins with surrender. Your task is not to orchestrate every step or figure out every detail. Your task is to listen, to feel, to trust what rises within, not from logic, but from that deeper place where the true self lives, the place where all creation begins. Close your eyes and tune in, not to the outer world, where noise rules and opinions shift like wind. Tune in to the inner world, where your imagination has already painted the life you long for. That vision, the one that seems too big, too bold, too far away, is not fantasy. It's guidance. It's instruction from a higher realm of yourself. It doesn't tease you. It reveals you. It shows you who you really are and what already belongs to you. But to hear it, you must be still. You must let go of the anxious need to make something happen. You must quiet the voice that says, I must do more, try harder, figure it all out. That voice is not the truth. That voice is fear. And fear cannot guide you into the life you were born to live. Only imagination can do that. Only the inner voice, the one that speaks in knowing, not panic, can lead you into your real destiny. Imagination doesn't speak in chaos. It speaks in clarity. When you feel peace, when you feel certainty rising from within you, that is the sign. That is the inner language that says, this is yours. Walk in it. You don't have to earn it. You only have to allow it. The victory is not something you must achieve. It's something you must recognize. Your imagined victory is the seed of a future already planted. The moment you see it in your mind, you have touched the eternal. You have glimpsed the unseen reality that wants to unfold through you. But instead of chasing it, you must embody it. You must feel it now, as if it were already done. That is how you listen. That is how you receive. The imagination is your inner compass. It's always pointing to the truth of what's possible, not according to the world's standards or limitations, but according to your own divine design. Every time you close your eyes and dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you're not escaping life. You're commanding it. You're instructing the unseen to arrange itself around your new assumption. This is not wishful thinking. This is the deepest form of listening. It's the art of hearing what the world cannot yet see and responding to it with trust. You don't need proof. You only need presence. Presence in the state. Presence in the vision. Presence in the knowing that what is seen in imagination is more real than what is seen in form. So stop fighting. Stop planning every move. Stop questioning the timing. Sit quietly. Feel the outcome. Hear it in your spirit. The voice of your imagination is your victory speaking. Let it rise. Let it live through you. Because the more you listen, the more you align. And when you align, there's nothing to chase, only everything to receive. You win, not by force, not by effort, not by striving, but by becoming. And the becoming happens first in silence. It begins within, where no one sees, where no applause echoes, and no opinions can sway. In that stillness, you're not trying to get something. You're remembering who you are. You're aligning with the identity that already possesses the thing you seek. Manifestation is not the result of activity. It's the result of identity. You don't receive what you want. You receive who you are. And who you are is determined by what you accept as true in the quiet of your own mind. The inner conversation, the inner assumption, the inner feeling, that is the birthplace of all outward change. To become is to win. Not outwardly, not for show, but inwardly, where it matters most. That's where the seed is planted. That's where the world begins to reshape itself around you. When you sit in silence and accept the truth of your desired state, you begin to live from it. And once you live from it, the world cannot help but reflect it. Presence in the state, presence in the vision, presence in the knowing that what is seen in imagination is more real than what is seen in form. So stop fighting. Stop planning every move. Stop questioning the timing. Sit quietly. Feel the outcome. Hear it in your spirit. The voice of your imagination is your victory speaking. Let it rise. Let it live through you. Because the more you listen, the more you align. And when you align, there's nothing to chase, only everything to receive. Silence is sacred, because in silence, the noise of limitation dies. The stories you've repeated to yourself, of lack, of doubt, of fear, begin to dissolve. And in their place, you hear something deeper. You hear the voice of truth, the still and powerful knowing that you already are what you desire to be. Not someday, not maybe, now. You don't need to speak it out loud. You don't need to convince anyone. You only need to feel it as real. That feeling repeated becomes a state, and that state becomes your identity. Once it becomes your identity, the external world bends to meet it. It must, because the world is not separate from you. It's a mirror, a divine echo of your innermost assumptions. The outer world has no choice but to conform to the inner man, and the inner man is shaped by what he listens to in silence. So the question is not, what should I do? The question is, who am I becoming within? Are you still holding on to the identity of the one who lacks, who doubts, who hopes but does not know? Or have you dared to assume a higher self, one who is already chosen, already favored, already victorious? This is not about pretending. It's about embodying, and embodiment begins before movement. It begins in that sacred space where you close your eyes and dwell in the feeling of already being, already having, already living from the place you once only dreamed of. The mind doesn't argue with identity. It simply follows it. If you believe you are, then you are. If you persist in that belief, quietly, faithfully, without rushing, then the world will match your self-concept. The doors will open. The people will show up. The path will reveal itself. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. Silence is not empty. It's full of power. In silence, you're not doing less. You're doing what matters most. You're planting the image. You're claiming the identity. You're choosing to be before anything appears. That is the secret. That is the key. So stop striving. Stop waiting for the outside to change before you allow yourself to believe. Change first in your imagination, in your assumption, in your quiet personal truth. The rest is inevitable. You win by becoming it first in silence, and then watching as the world rushes to agree. So now you understand. You were never meant to force, chase, or plead. Your real power has always lived in your stillness. It's in the quiet where identity is shaped, where imagination speaks, and where your entire world begins to take form. You win not by pushing, but by surrendering to the truth already within you. You don't move, don't write, don't beg, You listen, you become, and you receive. Let the world shout, let the mind race. But you remain still, because you now know the secret. Manifestation isn't about doing more. It's about becoming more, inwardly aligned with the self that already has it. Every vision, every desire, every whispered dream, it's already yours. Your only task is to believe it deeply enough that the world has no choice but to mirror it back to you. The life you're seeking is seeking you. Meet it in the silence. Thank you for listening, not just to these words, but to the deeper voice within you. May you walk forward not with striving, but with stillness. Not with fear, but with faith. You already are everything you seek. Let that truth guide you, silently, confidently, into the life that is waiting for you. The secret is stillness. The power is within. The time is now. Stop chasing. Start being. Your victory awaits in the silence. My dear friends, what I'm about to share with you will challenge everything you believe about chance, luck, and the nature of reality itself. On a single Tuesday morning, I won not one, but two jackpots. $27 million at 10:47 a.m. and $5 million at 2:33 p.m. the same day. Before you dismiss this as impossible coincidence, let me tell you something that will shake you to your core. There was no luck involved. What happened was the inevitable result of a law as reliable as gravity itself. Let me paint the scene for you. It was an ordinary Tuesday, or so it seemed. I had been practicing what I teach you all, living in the end for months. I had been assuming the feeling of being financially free, not hoping for it, not wishing for it, but living from that assumption as though it were already my reality. That morning, as I stood in line at the corner store, I wasn't purchasing lottery tickets with desperate hope. I was simply collecting what was already mine. You see, in consciousness, I had already won. The physical world was merely catching up to reflect my inner state. But here's where it gets interesting. And this is something most people will never understand about manifestation. When the first winning numbers were announced at 10:47 a.m., I felt no surprise, none whatsoever. I felt the calm confirmation of something I already knew to be true. $27 million was now reflecting in my bank account, but in consciousness, it had been mine for months. Now, you might think the story ends there, but the universe wasn't finished demonstrating this law to me. At 2:33 p.m. that same day, I won again. Another $5 million. Two jackpots in one day. The mathematical probability, 1 in several billion. But I'm here to tell you that probability has nothing to do with it. As I taught you, assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Let me explain what this means for you personally. The secret I'm about to reveal has been hidden in plain sight for centuries, and once you grasp it, you'll never look at your circumstances the same way again. Your words are creative commands. Every word you speak is a command to your subconscious mind, not a request, a command. Your subconscious doesn't argue. It doesn't question whether you deserve what you're commanding. It simply accepts and begins to rearrange your world to match your words. Most people walk through life unconsciously cursing themselves. They say, I never have enough money, and their subconscious obediently ensures they never have enough. They declare, I'm always struggling, and struggle becomes their faithful companion. But when you understand that your words are creative forces, you begin to choose them with the same care a sculptor chooses his chisel strokes. Each word is either building your desired reality or destroying it. Before my wins, I had developed the habit of speaking as if wealth was already mine. I would say, I am so grateful that money flows to me effortlessly. Not I hope money will flow to me, but money flows to me, present tense, accomplished fact. I discovered something profound. Whatever you assume to be true, regardless of current evidence, will eventually manifest as your reality. This isn't positive thinking. This is understanding how consciousness creates reality. What I'm about to tell you next is the exact mental technique I used on the morning of my double jackpot win, and it's so simple that most people dismiss it as too easy to work. For months before my wins, Every night before sleep, I would enter what I call the state akin to sleep, that drowsy, receptive state between waking and sleeping. In this state, I would assume the feeling of financial freedom, not the future feeling, but the present feeling. I would imagine checking my bank balance and seeing millions. I would feel the security, the freedom, the joy of knowing I could help my family, travel anywhere, live without financial concern. But here's the crucial part. I wouldn't think this will happen someday. I would think this is my reality. I learned to live in the end, to assume that my desire is already fulfilled, and I maintained that assumption regardless of my current circumstances. This wasn't about pretending or lying to myself. It was about understanding that consciousness is the only reality, and everything else is simply its reflection. The months leading up to my wins, I lived as a wealthy man who hadn't yet seen his wealth reflected in the physical world. I carried myself differently. I thought differently. I spoke differently. Not because I was pretending, but because in consciousness, in the only reality that matters, I was wealthy. But here's where most people make the fatal mistake that keeps them trapped in lack forever. They make the fatal mistake of seeking evidence. The greatest obstacle to manifestation is the need to see evidence before believing. Most people say, "I'll believe it when I see it." But the law works in reverse. You'll see it when you believe it. After assuming my wealth for months, there were many times when my physical circumstances seemed to contradict my assumption. Bank statements showed the same modest amounts. Bills arrived as usual. Everything in the physical world suggested I was the same person I'd always been. But I had learned that the physical world is always the last to know. It's simply a shadow cast by consciousness. Shadows don't create, they only reflect. Your outer world is the shadow of your inner world. So when physical evidence seemed to contradict my assumption, I didn't waver. I held firm to what I knew to be true in consciousness. This is what I mean when I say faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. Your subconscious mind learns through repetition. Every thought you think repeatedly becomes a groove in consciousness, and your life flows along these grooves like water follows a riverbed. I made it a daily practice to repeat my assumption. I am abundantly wealthy. Money flows to me from multiple sources. I am financially free. I repeated these statements, not as empty affirmations, but as statements of fact. The same way you might say, my name is this or that, or I live at here or there. What happened next will show you exactly why most people's affirmations fail. And the one crucial element that makes all the difference, the key was feeling. Feeling is the secret. You can repeat words all day, but if they don't carry the feeling of truth, they're just noise. When I affirmed my wealth, I felt wealthy. I felt the relief, the security, the freedom that comes with financial abundance. This feeling tone is what impresses the subconscious. Your subconscious doesn't respond to words. It responds to the emotional conviction behind those words. One of the most powerful techniques I employed was gratitude in advance. Instead of waiting to be grateful after receiving my wealth, I was grateful for it while it was still invisible to the physical senses. Every morning I would say, thank you for my financial abundance. Thank you that money comes to me easily and effortlessly. Thank you for my freedom to live without financial worry. This wasn't hoping or wishing. This was thanking for something I knew was already mine. Gratitude in advance is the ultimate expression of faith. It says, I'm so confident in the reality of my assumption that I'm already grateful for its fulfillment. Here's a paradox that confuses many. The more desperately you want something, the longer it takes to manifest. Why? Because desperation implies lack, and the law can only give you more of what you predominantly feel. After setting my assumption in motion, I practiced what I call the Sabbath. I rested from my labor. I didn't obsessively check lottery results or frantically buy more tickets. I had done the inner work. Now I trusted the law to do the outer work. The morning of my double win, something extraordinary happened that revealed the true nature of how manifestation works. I went about my normal routine with complete calm. There was no anxiety, no desperate hoping, no need to make anything happen. I moved through the day knowing that everything was unfolding perfectly according to the assumption I had been faithfully maintaining. When the first numbers were drawn and I realized I had won $27 million, my reaction surprised even me. Instead of shock or disbelief, I felt a quiet, of course. It was like remembering something I had temporarily forgotten, rather than discovering something new. And when the second win came that afternoon, another $5 million, I understood that consciousness was demonstrating its power in an undeniable way. 2 jackpots in one day isn't luck. It's law. It's the physical world conforming to an assumption that had been held with unwavering faith. My dear friends, I share this story not to boast, but to prove to you that the law is real, reliable, and available to everyone. You don't need to win the lottery to prove it to yourself. You can start with smaller demonstrations and work your way up. Choose something you desire, not something impossible, but something that would bring you joy and prove the law to you. Assume it's already yours. Feel grateful for it. Live from that assumption, regardless of current circumstances. And most importantly, persist in that assumption until it hardens into fact. Remember, you are not a victim of circumstances. You are the creator of them. The same power that allowed me to win $32 million in one day lives within you. It's not a special gift reserved for a chosen few. It's the fundamental nature of consciousness itself. You are consciousness. You are the operant power in your world. Everything you see around you, every building, every invention, every work of art, began as an assumption in someone's mind. They assumed it was possible, held that assumption with feeling, and watched it manifest in the physical world. Your assumptions of today are your world of tomorrow. Choose them wisely, assume the best, live in the end, and watch as your world transforms to match the magnificence of your imagination. The law knows no favorites. The law of assumption doesn't care about your background, your education, your current circumstances, or your past failures. It only responds to your current assumptions about yourself and your world. I've seen people transform their entire lives by simply changing what they assume to be true about themselves. Health conditions disappear when people assume perfect health. Relationships heal when people assume love and harmony. Businesses flourish when owners assume success and abundance. The law is impersonal and impartial. It works for everyone who works with it. Your only requirement is faith. Not faith in some external power, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. Today, right now, you can begin to assume yourself to be the person you wish to be. You can assume your desires are already fulfilled. You can thank God for what is yours in consciousness, even before it appears in the world of shadows. This is not a theory to be debated. It is a law to be demonstrated. Go now and prove it to yourself. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Persist in that assumption and watch as your world rearranges itself to confirm what you have dared to assume. Your greatest days are not behind you. They are ahead of you, waiting for you to claim them through the power of assumption. The same consciousness that won me $32 million in a single day is the consciousness you possess right now. Use it wisely, use it boldly, use it with unwavering faith. Thank you, and may your assumptions manifest with speed and grace.
My friends, tonight I want to share with you the most profound secret I have ever learned. It is a secret that, when truly understood, will transform everything you thought you knew about prayer, about manifestation, about your relationship with the divine. The miracles you seek are not distant. They are not dependent on chance or luck or some external force finally deciding to bless you. The miracles you desire are already complete in consciousness, waiting only for your recognition, your assumption, your unwavering expectation. What I am going to tell you tonight is not theory. It is law, divine law. And when you understand it, when you truly grasp it, you will never again feel powerless in the face of circumstance. So I ask you to listen carefully, for this is the pearl of great price. Let me begin with a question that will reveal everything. What are you expecting at this very moment? Not what are you hoping for. Hope is wonderful, but hope is not creation. not what you are wishing might happen. Wishing keeps things at a distance. But what are you expecting with the same certainty that you expect the sun to rise tomorrow? Because I tell you truly, your expectation is the creative power itself. Whatever you assume to be true, whatever you expect with feeling, must externalize itself in your world. It cannot do otherwise. This is not my opinion. This is law. Think for a moment about something you expect with absolute certainty. Perhaps you expect your heart to beat. Perhaps you expect gravity to hold you to the earth. Perhaps you're expecting someone to arrive tomorrow, and you've already made room for them. Notice there is no anxiety in that expectation. There is no doubt. You simply know. That quality of knowing, that is the secret. When you expect your desire with that same certainty, when you assume the feeling of the wish already fulfilled, consciousness has no choice but to produce the physical manifestation. For consciousness is the only reality, and assumption is the way consciousness creates. Now many of you have tried to manifest. Many of you have prayed, have visualized, have affirmed, and perhaps you've been disappointed. Perhaps you've wondered, why doesn't it work for me? Let me tell you why. And please listen closely, because this will save you years of frustration. Most people approach prayer backwards. They pray from the problem instead of from the solution. They beg. They plead. They repeat words without feeling. And underneath all their words, they are expecting nothing to change. They say, I am wealthy, while feeling poor. They affirm, I am healed, while identifying with sickness. They declare, I am loved, while carrying the consciousness of unworthiness. And then they wonder why nothing manifests. I tell you, it is not your words that create. It is your state. It is what you are actually assuming to be true beneath all the words and techniques. I remember a woman who came to me once, desperate for money. She said, I've done everything. I've visualized, I've affirmed, I've made vision boards. Nothing works. I asked her, when you imagine having the money, what do you feel? She thought for a moment and said, I feel relief, like I finally escaped poverty. And there it was. She was still assuming poverty as her natural state, with occasional escapes. Her consciousness was rooted in lack, and consciousness always externalizes itself. I told her, you must not imagine from poverty to wealth. You must imagine from wealth. You must assume you are the woman for whom abundance is natural, normal, expected. When she finally made that shift, when she stopped trying to escape poverty and instead assumed the identity of someone who had always been provided for, everything changed. Money came from unexpected sources. Opportunities appeared. Why? Because she finally expected abundance as her natural state. Now let me explain to you the foundation of everything I teach. The law of assumption states simply this. Whatever you assume to be true will become true in your world, not might become true. Not if you're lucky, not if you deserve it. It will become true because assumption is the creative power itself. You see, my friends, God does not act on you. God acts through you. God acts as you. Your consciousness, your I am, that is God individualized. And whatever this I am assumes must come to pass. Scripture tells us, I am the Lord thy God. Who is this I am? It is your own awareness, your own consciousness. When you say I am sick, that I am, that divine creative power begins to create sickness. When you say I am poor, that same power creates poverty. But when you say with feeling, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am loved, that power creates accordingly. This is what I mean when I say God only acts. There is no other power. There is no external force you must petition or beg. The creative power of the universe is your own wonderful human imagination operating through assumption. Many people misunderstand the so-called law of attraction. They think they are attracting things from out there. No, you are not attracting anything. You are aligning with states of consciousness that already exist in the infinite possibilities of imagination. And then those states push out into your three-dimensional world. When you assume health, you don't attract health from somewhere else. You become the version of yourself for whom health is natural, and the body conforms to consciousness. When you assume love, you don't attract a person. You embody the consciousness of being loved, and the world must provide witnesses to that state. When you assume prosperity, you don't chase money. You occupy the state of wealth, and circumstances arrange themselves to match. This is why I emphasize feeling so much in my teachings. Feeling is the secret. Feeling is the language of creation. You can say words all day long, but if there is no feeling, there is no creation. The feeling of the wish fulfilled, that is the prayer that gets answered. Now, I'm going to give you the practical method. This is how you consciously use the law of assumption to create the life you desire. First, know what you want. Be specific. Don't be vague. Consciousness creates exactly what you impress upon it. If you're vague, you'll get vague results. If you want a home, see the specific home. If you want a relationship, imagine the specific feeling of being loved by a specific person. If you want health, imagine the specific sensation of wellness in your body. Clarity is power. Second, construct a scene that implies the wish fulfilled. This is crucial. Don't imagine the process of getting what you want. Don't imagine yourself trying or working for it. Imagine a scene that would naturally occur after you already have it. If you want wealth, don't imagine checking your mailbox for money. Imagine a scene where you're already wealthy. Perhaps you're writing a check to charity, or you're purchasing something expensive without concern, or someone is congratulating you on your success. If you want to be married, don't imagine the proposal. Imagine lying in bed wearing a wedding ring, or imagine a friend congratulating you on your anniversary. The scene must imply the wish is already fulfilled. It must be after the fact, not before. Third, enter into the state akin to sleep. This is what I call the state akin to sleep, the drowsy, peaceful state just before you fall asleep at night, or just as you're waking in the morning. In this state, the conscious reasoning mind is quiet, and you have direct access to the subconscious, which is the creative power. Lie comfortably in your bed. Relax your body completely. Let yourself drift into that drowsy state. And now, in your imagination, see and feel the scene that implies your wish fulfilled. Don't just picture it like a movie. Experience it. See it from the first-person perspective, as if it's happening now. Feel the reality of it. Hear what you would hear. Touch what you would touch. Make it vivid. Make it real. Fourth, feel it until it takes on the tones of reality. This is the secret within the secret. You must loop that scene, repeat it, feel it, until it becomes natural, until it feels real, until there's a kind of inner knowing, a satisfaction, a sense of completion. Some nights it might take 5 minutes. Some nights it might take longer. But persist until you feel it's real, until you can almost taste it. And then drift off to sleep from that state, in that feeling. Sleep is the door through which your assumption enters into manifestation. Fifth, live in the end throughout your day. Now here is where most people fail. They do their visualization at night, they feel wonderful, and then they wake up in the morning and return to their old state. They go about their day, assuming lack, assuming limitation, assuming the old story. No, you must persist in the new state. Throughout your day, when thoughts arise that contradict your assumption, gently bring yourself back. If you're assuming health, and you notice yourself thinking, I'm always sick, stop, redirect. No, I am well. If you're assuming wealth and you catch yourself worrying about bills, stop. No, I am provided for. I am abundant. This is living in the end. This is persisting in the assumption. And this is what causes the assumption to harden into fact. Sixth, trust the bridge of incidents. Finally, you must trust what I call the bridge of incidents. Once you've impressed your desire upon consciousness, events will begin to unfold. A series of incidents that lead naturally to the fulfillment of your desire. Your job is not to figure out how it will happen. Your job is to maintain the state. Consciousness knows the way. The universe knows paths you cannot see. Don't limit the infinite intelligence by demanding it happen a specific way. Simply assume it's done. Feel it's done. And then let the bridge unfold. Now let me take you deeper into the mystical heart of this teaching. I have told you that consciousness is the only reality. I have told you that assumption creates facts. But do you understand what this truly means? It means that you are not a small, separate being trying to get the attention of a distant God. No, you are God, pushed out. The awareness that is aware in you is the same awareness that created the universe. It is the same I am that spoke to Moses from the burning bush. When you say I am, you are using the name of God. And whatever you attach to I am, you create. This is why Jesus said, I and my Father are one. He wasn't claiming to be special. He was revealing your nature. He was showing you that the kingdom of heaven is within you, that the creative power is within you, that God himself dwells in you as your own consciousness. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. Let me say it again. You manifest what you are in consciousness. If you are wealthy in consciousness, wealth must appear. If you are healthy in consciousness, health must appear. If you are loved in consciousness, love must appear. This is not belief. This is not faith in the traditional sense. This is assumption. This is identity. This is being. And when you truly understand this, when you truly grasp that your imagination is God Himself acting in you, something miraculous happens. You stop begging. You stop asking permission. You stop wondering if you're worthy. Instead, you command, not with arrogance, but with authority. The authority of one who knows who they are. Jesus demonstrated this constantly. He didn't pray for healing. He commanded healing. He didn't ask permission to multiply loaves and fishes. He gave thanks and did it. Why? Because he knew that consciousness is the only reality, and he was operating from the consciousness of completion. He lived in the end, always. And this is what I'm teaching you to do. But I must be honest with you. Doubt will come. Old states will try to reassert themselves. There will be moments when you think, is this really true? Can I really create my reality? This is normal. This is part of the process. The old man does not die easily. When doubt comes, do not fight it. Do not condemn yourself. Simply recognize it for what it is, the old state trying to maintain itself, and gently return to your assumption. Think of it this way. Imagine you're walking from one city to another. You're on the road, making progress, and suddenly you trip. Do you lie down and say, well, I failed, I might as well quit? No. You get up and continue walking. It's the same with assumption. When you slip back into the old state, when doubt arises, when circumstances seem to mock your desire, simply return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Persist. Persistence is not effort. It's faithfulness. It's loyalty to the new state until that state becomes more natural to you than the old one. And I promise you this, if you persist, if you remain faithful to your assumption despite appearances, despite delay, despite contrary evidence, your assumption must externalize. It has no choice. Because consciousness is cause, and the three-dimensional world is effect. I have tested this for over 40 years. I have taught it to thousands of people, and I tell you without reservation, it works. It always works. The only way it can fail is if you abandon your assumption before it has time to externalize. So when the world tells you it's impossible, when friends question you, when circumstances seem to contradict you, smile inwardly and say, these are just the old facts. But I am creating new facts. I am assuming a new state, and this state must come to pass. Then feel it again, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the calm certainty, the expectation. My friends, I want you to understand something tonight. You have within you at this very moment the same creative power that fashioned the universe, the same consciousness that spoke worlds into being, the same imagination that divided the light from the darkness. It's not somewhere else. It's not in a church or a temple or a technique. It's your own wonderful human imagination, activated by feeling and directed by assumption. The miracle you're seeking will not arrive when you finally deserve it. It will not come when you've suffered enough or worked hard enough or been good enough. The miracle will emerge the moment you assume it's already done and feel the reality of that assumption. Because God only acts, and He acts through you, through your imagination, through your I am, through your consciousness. So tonight, I invite you to make a decision. What are you going to assume? Not hope for, not wish for, not try to get. What are you going to assume as already true? Choose it now. Make it specific. Construct a scene that implies it. And tonight, as you drift into sleep, enter into that scene. Feel it. Live it. Experience it until it takes on the tones of reality. And then watch. Watch as your world begins to conform to your assumption. Watch as the bridge of incidents unfolds. Watch as the impossible becomes inevitable. The miracles you seek are not coming, my friend. They're already here, in consciousness, waiting only for your recognition. Now go and prove it to yourself. Thank you and good evening. Remember, the power to transform your life lies within your own wonderful human imagination. Dare to assume you are what you want to be, and remain faithful to that assumption. This is Best of Lectures. I will see you in the next video.
The moment you start desiring something, it starts moving towards you. But that's the moment where you make the mistake too. Do not ask how, and do not wonder when. These are the questions of a mind still asleep to its own power. There is no distance between you and wealth, save for the illusion that you must earn it. I tell you now, you already are what you seek. You are not the beggar knocking at the door. You are the owner of the house. Look not to your bank account for proof of your wealth. Look instead to your inner vision. For what you accept is true within, the world must mirror without. The treasure does not come after the feeling. It comes because of it. So feel now. Assume the state of the one who no longer desires because they already possess. Let your spine straighten with the confidence of financial freedom. Let your thoughts be dressed in the silk of abundance. Walk as the millionaire does, not in arrogance, but in ease, for nothing is missing from the one who knows. Do not try to get rich. Be rich in consciousness first. Stop trying so hard to make it happen. Let it be. You must believe not by force, but by familiarity. You believe you're wealthy because you've rehearsed it so well in the silence of your soul. The world has no choice but to play its part. Detach from the noise and ignore the evidence of lack. Lack is only a shadow cast by your former belief. Don't fight it. Replace it. Replace it with the unwavering knowing that wealth is not arriving. It has arrived, and it's simply catching up to you in time. Speak richly. Speak not as one who waits, but as one who remembers. Every word you utter confirms who you are. So say, I am wealthy, not as a wish, but as a decree. Give thanks not when it appears, but before. Gratitude is the password. It signals to the universe that you have received. And once you have received within, no force in the world can keep it from you. The inner millionaire is not an idea. It is your true self calling you forward. Let go of trying and waiting. You are not becoming rich. You are rich already. Before the world can ever reflect your wealth, it must first be formed, nurtured, and lived within the sanctuary of your mind. Wealth is not something you pursue outside of yourself, like a man chases the horizon. It is not found in the grinding, striving, or collecting. It begins in the unseen, in silence, in the invisible world of your imagination. You have been taught to look outside of yourself for riches, to hustle, to grind, to sacrifice your peace for gain. But true wealth laughs at such efforts. It is not birthed from force. It is born in belief. The world does not respond to what you want. It responds to who you are and who you believe yourself to be. You do not attract what you chase. You attract what you are. And so if you desire riches, you must not see yourself as someone who is lacking, reaching out for something that isn't here. You must become the awareness of wealth itself. Close your eyes for a moment and picture what your life would look like if you were already everything you desire to be. What clothes are you wearing? What kind of home surrounds you? What kind of air fills your lungs? What does your schedule feel like? Do you rush, or do you glide with time as your servant, not your master? You see, these are not childish games. These are the keys. Your imagination is not fantasy. It is the blueprint of your reality. It is the secret chamber where all creation begins. Everything you now see was once imagined. Every building, every car, every company, every dollar in circulation. It began as a thought, a vision, a moment of belief in the unseen. Why would it be any different for you? The moment you imagine yourself as wealthy and truly feel it, not as a distant hope, but as a present truth, you shift your identity. And when your identity shifts, your world must conform. The law is simple. What you accept is true within must become fact without. You cannot pretend to be rich while secretly seeing yourself as poor. You cannot rehearse lack in your thoughts and expect abundance in your life. The outer world will always echo the state you occupy within. This is why the wise never speak from circumstance. They speak from conviction. They don't describe what is, they declare what must be, because they have seen it in their imagination and have claimed it as theirs. They walk in faith, not blind belief, but but inner knowing. You are not just a body in the world. You are consciousness, awareness, imagination in motion. You are the projector, not the screen. And so if the movie you're watching is full of scarcity, you don't change the screen. You change the film. You change the inner assumptions. You dare to believe something new, something greater. See yourself now as the one who already has, not someday, not after the promotion, not when the market changes, right now. See it and live in that vision. Speak from that place and think from that place. Give thanks from that place. Your feelings will confirm when you're there. Peace and ease will come. And those are your true companions to wealth. Wealth begins in the imagination, because that is the only place anything has ever begun. Your riches will not come from struggle. They will come from inner alignment. You're not chasing money. You are becoming one with the awareness of abundance. And once that becomes your natural state, your outer world will have no choice but to fall in line. There is a subtle but powerful truth hidden from the world, and it is this: you do not become wealthy by trying harder. You become wealthy by embodying the state of one who already is. The world has confused effort for creation, striving for becoming, and in doing so, it has led many into exhaustion. But the secret has always been in the feeling. What you feel yourself to be is what the world will ultimately confirm. The mind seeks to fix the outer world, to hustle and manipulate events into place. But that path is endless and tiring. There is another way. It begins not with the outer, but the inner, not with action, but with assumption. What if in this very moment, you stopped seeing yourself as someone working toward wealth and instead began living as someone who already possesses it? This is not make-believe. This is the core of transformation. To assume the feeling of already being wealthy is to step into a version of yourself that knows without doubt or hesitation that abundance is already yours. It is to feel the peace, the power, the freedom, and the quiet confidence that comes with knowing you are supported by life itself. When you feel wealthy, not for show or for others, but in the deep stillness of your soul, you begin to change what the world reflects back to you. You must understand, feeling is the secret bridge between the unseen and the seen. Everything you desire already exists in the realm of the unseen, but it can only move into form when it is matched with the right emotional frequency. That frequency is not found in desperation. It is not found in fear or stress or lack. It is found in the calm, unwavering sensation of already having. So pause. Go within. Imagine a life where you no longer worry about money, where every need is met before you even ask, where opportunities flow to you with ease. Don't simply see it. Feel it. Feel the gratitude for that life. Feel the freedom. Feel the expansion. What does your body feel like in that state? How do you carry yourself? How do you speak, decide, and move through the day? Let that feeling become so real, so natural, that it no longer feels like a dream, but a memory of something that's always been yours. You don't need permission to feel wealthy now. You don't need to wait for a bank statement or a title or a business deal. The moment you wait, you have declared yourself separate from it. But the moment you feel, you claim it. You bring the unseen into being. And this is the great paradox. The feeling must come first. The feeling draws the form. The world of conditions and circumstances will follow your inner conviction, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. This is not law by force, but law by being. Every time you assume the feeling of being wealthy, you rewire the mind, you soften resistance, and you allow your world to reconfigure itself. It doesn't matter how far away your goals seem. Time is not your master, your state is. And the state you dwell in emotionally and mentally becomes your experience. There is no outer world without the inner world, first breathing life into it. So instead of striving, begin remembering. Begin identifying with the version of you who already lives in abundance. This is not about pretending. This is about returning to a truth that has always been quietly whispering within you. You are not becoming wealthy. You are awakening to the fact that wealth has always been within you, waiting for you to feel it real. Let that feeling guide you now, and the world will follow. The greatest illusion you will ever face is the belief that what you see with your eyes is all there is. Your senses, as sharp as they may be, are not sources of truth. They are messengers of your past assumptions. What you see, hear, and experience right now is not the ultimate reality, but a reflection of the state you have most consistently accepted as true within yourself. To live only by what you see is to remain bound by yesterday's beliefs. You must learn to detach from what is, if you ever hope to step into what can be. The outer world is not the cause, it is the echo. It is the shadow of a deeper, invisible world within you. And if you continue to react to the echo, you will keep recreating the same scenes, the same cycles, the same results. But if you can ignore the noise of appearances and hold fast to the unseen vision, you unlock the true power of creation. This detachment is not denial. It is mastery. You are not ignoring the facts. You are refusing to let them dictate your future. You are choosing to believe in something greater than your current circumstance. You are choosing to believe that your imagination is more real than your surroundings. Because it is. Every great change, every transformation, every success that has ever occurred in history began not with what was, but with someone bold enough to live from what will be. To persist in the inner vision, even when the outer world offers no support, is the mark of a powerful creator. It requires faith, not the kind that waits for signs, but the kind that creates signs. It is not a passive waiting, but an active claiming. You see it, you feel it, and you walk in it even when no one else does. This is the essence of detachment. Your inner reality becomes so dominant, so vivid, so alive, that the outer world must eventually conform. Look around you right now. Everything you consider real was once a thought in someone's mind. Someone once closed their eyes and saw what no one else could see. They believed it before it existed. They walked in it before it arrived. That's the secret the world won't teach you. Reality is delayed imagination. What you hold in consciousness now will show itself in form, if you don't let the noise of now talk you out of it. You are not meant to argue with circumstances. You are not meant to plead with reality. You are meant to transcend it, to rise above appearances and stand firm in the state of the wish fulfilled. And when doubt whispers, when nothing seems to be changing, you smile. Not because you're pretending, but because you know the truth. The unseen is more powerful than the seen. The cause is internal, and the outer must yield to the inner. So practice the discipline of stillness. Return again and again to your chosen vision. Feel it real. Speak from it. Think from it. Rest in it. Do not let your senses shake you. Train them instead. Tell your eyes what to see. Tell your ears what to hear. And teach your body what it feels like to live in the end result. In time, the world will bend, not because you forced it, but because you refused to leave your inner post. You stayed loyal to the vision. You detached from what is, and you gave your loyalty to what must be. That is the path of the master. That is how you rise in poor appearances. Persist in the inner vision. The world is a mirror, and it must reflect what you boldly assume to be true. The world within you is speaking long before your lips ever move. Every word you speak, every thought you allow to linger, and every silent assumption you hold in the shadows of your mind, they are creating. They are not just reflections of your reality. They are the blueprint of it. If you desire to live richly, you must first begin to speak richly. Walk boldly and think abundantly. There is no other way. You do not wait for riches to speak like a wealthy person. You speak this way because you already are. You cannot plant seeds of lack and expect to harvest abundance. The law is too precise for that. You must begin to speak with authority, with clarity, and with expectancy. Speak as though you know the doors are already open. Speak as though the universe is bending over backward to honor your inner state, because it is. When you speak richly, you're not boasting. You're not pretending. You are aligning. You are aligning your language with your vision. You are reminding your mind and your body of what it means to live in the end. Words are not small. They are not idle. Every sentence, Every phrase you utter becomes a silent instruction to your subconscious. If you speak of struggle, of waiting, of how far you are, do not be surprised when your world reflects exactly that. But speak as one who knows, and your life must echo that knowing. And it does not end with words. You must walk boldly. Carry yourself as one who is already chosen, already favored, already abundant, not out of arrogance, but from conviction. Let your body reflect the truth you hold within. Do you realize how powerful your walk is when it matches your vision? Every step you take with intention becomes a declaration to life itself. I am ready. I am certain. I am it. A person who walks boldly does not question their place. They do not seek permission. They do not wait for external validation to believe they belong. They decide. And in that decision, everything around them begins to reorganize to match their certainty. So walk boldly, not because of what you have, but because of who you've become in consciousness. Walk like someone who already holds the key to every room they enter. But above all, think abundantly. This is where everything begins. Your thoughts are the silent architects of your experience. No one hears them, but the universe responds to them. What are you imagining when no one is watching? What are you rehearsing in your mind? Are you mentally preparing for delays, for disappointments, for resistance? Or are you rehearsing success, ease, flow, and favor? Think abundantly, not just in terms of money, but in time, energy, love, and creativity. Lack cannot speak where wealth lives. The two cannot dwell in the same space. When you think richly, when you believe there is always more than enough, life mirrors that belief. Scarcity shrinks your world. Abundance expands it. Every moment is a chance to realign. When you catch yourself thinking small, stop. When you hear lack in your speech, shift. When you feel hesitation in your body, straighten up. Reclaim the power that is already yours. You are not waiting for wealth to change you. You are choosing to embody wealth now so that it must express through you. Do not underestimate the simplicity of this practice. It is not complicated. Speak richly. Walk boldly. Think abundantly. Let your life become the natural expression of one who knows their worth. When you align your words, your walk, and your thoughts with your wealthy self, the world has no choice but to meet you where you stand. You are not trying, chasing, or becoming. You are awakening. The grand illusion is that you must strive and struggle, work endlessly, and prove your worth before you can call yourself wealthy, abundant, and complete. But the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. You already are. There is nothing to add. There is only something to remember. The millionaire is not a destination. It is a state of consciousness, a way of being, and it lives within you now. The moment you stop looking outside yourself for validation, permission, or proof, you begin to see clearly. The wealth was never out there. It was always encoded in you, quietly waiting for your recognition. You don't transform into a powerful creator. You realize you are one. You don't build your worth. You recognize it. It is not effort that makes you rich. It is identity. And when you shift your identity, your world follows. This is not theory. This is law. Every desire you have is a whisper from the deeper self, the higher self, reminding you of who you really are, not who you could be, not who you might become if you try hard enough, but who you already are, beneath the layers of conditioning, fear, and doubt. You are not meant to strive for wealth. You are meant to step into it, to embody it, to assume it as natural, as effortless, as obvious. But the world has taught you the opposite. It has trained you to measure your worth by your bank account, your status, your job title, your past. It has told you that success must be earned, and that abundance is reserved for the few. None of that is true. It is not truth. It is programming. And you are here now to unlearn it all. You do not have to convince anyone. You do not have to defend your vision. You do not have to explain why you feel destined for more. The only one you must convince is yourself. Because the moment you accept that you already are, life rushes to mirror that acceptance. Not slowly, not someday, instantly. The outer simply lags behind the inner by a moment. That is all. Everything you do from the awareness of I already am carries a different frequency. It's not forced or desperate. It flows. You make decisions with clarity. You take steps with ease. You stop asking, how will this happen? And start declaring, this is who I am. And when your internal conviction deepens, the how becomes irrelevant, because the manifestation becomes inevitable. You are not becoming a millionaire. You are remembering that abundance is your nature, scarcity is the illusion, and lack is the lie. And as you peel away the false ideas, you reveal the truth. You are never broken, never unworthy, never behind. You are simply asleep. But now you are awake. Feel the difference between effort and embodiment. One tries, the other knows. One hopes, the other lives it now. You are not required to wait until the money shows up to feel wealthy. Feel it first, and it must show up. That is the way it works. This is the Great Awakening. Not that you must earn it, but that you've always had it. Not that you must chase it, but that it's chasing you. So stop waiting, stop doubting, stop delaying, step into the truth with full conviction. You are not transforming into something new. You are finally seeing what has always been true. You already are, and nothing can take that away from you. Use gratitude as a manifestation tool. Gratitude is not something you give after the blessing arrives. It is the very force that brings the blessing into form. It is not a passive emotion. It is a powerful act of creation. To feel thankful before the evidence appears is to declare without wavering that what you desire is already yours. Gratitude in this sense is the boldest expression of faith. It is proof that you believe more in the unseen than in the seen, more in the spiritual cause than in the physical effect. Most people wait to feel grateful. They wait until the money is in their account, until the opportunity appears, until the success is visible and confirmed by others. But that is not gratitude. That is observation. Gratitude is not a reaction. It is a choice. It is the invisible key that unlocks the visible realm. When you give thanks in advance, you are not pretending. You are aligning. You are placing your trust in the unseen hand that moves all things. This is why gratitude is so powerful. It bypasses doubt, it silences fear, it renders lack irrelevant. Because when you give thanks for something you cannot yet see, you are stating clearly to the universe that you no longer question its arrival. You no longer worry about how or when. You simply know it is already done. And the one who knows receives. Gratitude does not beg. It does not plead. It does not hope timidly. Gratitude declares. It says, thank you, not as a wish, but as a confirmation. Thank you for the abundance that is now mine. Thank you for the opportunities that are unfolding. Thank you for the success that has already occurred in the unseen. To live in gratitude is to live as if the miracle has already happened. It is to wake up and say, thank you for the wealth that flows to me. Thank you for the health that radiates from me. Thank you for the joy that surrounds me. You do not wait to see it. You decide to see it now. And that decision is magnetic. Life rushes to meet the tone you set. The secret door to abundance is not locked. It simply requires a key that few are willing to use: belief before sight. And gratitude is that key. It opens the floodgates because it proves that you trust the process, not partially, not occasionally. Every time you feel grateful, you are activating the law. You are shifting your focus from what is missing to what is already here in seed form. And what you focus on grows. Gratitude waters the soil of your consciousness. It nurtures the seed of your vision. It prepares your inner world to receive the outer manifestation. Start now. Even if your current reality seems empty, lacking, or delayed, speak gratitude into the silence. Say thank you in the face of resistance. Praise in the presence of doubt. Rejoice not because it has appeared, but because you know it must. This is the sacred art of creation. The more you practice it, the faster things shift. Gratitude is not for the world. It is for you. It reshapes your inner landscape until your outer world has no choice but to catch up. It is the signal you send that you are no longer waiting. You are living in the answered prayer. You are walking in the reality that your old self only dreamed of. So give thanks now. Give thanks boldly. Give thanks without conditions. Let your gratitude be loud, consistent, unwavering, because it is through that door that all abundance enters. Gratitude is the sound of your faith speaking, and the universe always answers that sound. Understand this. You are not here to chase wealth. You are here to realize it. Every word, every assumption, every inner feeling you've embraced throughout this journey is a key unlocking the truth that you were never separate from abundance. The millionaire is not someone you must become. It is who you already are in the unseen, waiting to be expressed through consciousness, feeling, and belief. You have now remembered that wealth begins not with money, but with imagination. That you must assume the feeling of already being rich. Live boldly from the unseen vision. Think and speak in alignment with your higher self. And give thanks before it arrives, because it has arrived in the world within, and that is where all things are born. There is nothing outside of you to wait for. There is only the moment when you know deeply and without doubt that it is already yours. That moment is now. As you close your eyes tonight and open them tomorrow morning, remember this truth. You are not the same person who began listening these words. Something has shifted within you, a recognition, an awakening, a remembering of what was always true. The old story of struggle and lack has lost its power over you. The new story, your true story, is one of inherent abundance, of natural wealth, of effortless flow. This is not a story you must write. It is one you must simply allow to unfold. You will face moments when the outer world tries to convince you otherwise. When bills arrive, when accounts seem empty, when others question your certainty, in those moments, return here. Return to this knowing. Return to the feeling of wealth that lives in your bones, in your breath, in the very essence of who you are. You are the master of your inner world, and your inner world is the only world that truly matters. Everything else is merely a reflection waiting to catch up to your consciousness. Walk forward now as the wealthy being you are. Speak as one who knows. Think as one who has. Feel as one who is complete. The universe is conspiring not just to meet your needs, but to exceed your wildest dreams. Because it recognizes what you have finally remembered. You are not separate from abundance. You are abundance itself, temporarily wearing the costume of a human being. The curtain rises on your new life now. Step into it with the confidence of one who knows the script was written in their favor. Long before the play began, you already are. You have always been. You will always be. Welcome home to abundance.
Your reality is not shaped by effort or struggle, but by your ability to believe in the unseen. You are not a victim of fate. You are its master. The world you experience is nothing but a reflection of your inner conversations, your deeply held beliefs. The moment you accept this, you step into your power as the operant force in your life. Do not wait for circumstances to change before you believe. That is the great mistake of man. You must assume that what you seek is already yours. If you desire wealth, feel the security and joy of already being wealthy. If you long for love, feel the warmth of already being cherished. Do not wish, assume, do not hope, no. The only reason desires go unfulfilled is doubt. You waver between belief and disbelief, allowing the evidence of the senses to dictate your faith. But the senses only reflect what you have previously believed. If you persist in your assumption, even when the world shows you the opposite, the world must conform. It has no choice. This is law. Your imagination creates reality. If you will but live each day in the state of the answered prayer, your life will unfold in miraculous ways. Dare to claim what is already yours. Rest in the knowing that it is done. So I leave you with this. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Dwell in it, persist in it, and watch as the world bows to your command. The greatest secret of life is that imagination is the only reality. Everything you experience in the external world is simply a reflection of what you have imagined within. You are not at the mercy of circumstances, nor are you a victim of fate. Instead, you are the creator, shaping your reality through the power of your assumptions, beliefs, and inner vision. The world you see with your physical eyes is nothing more than a shadow cast by your internal state of consciousness. Change that state and the world must follow. Most people live under the false assumption that life happens to them. They believe that external forces, luck, chance, or the will of others determine their experiences. But I tell you, this is not so. Your life is not dictated by forces outside of you, but by the thoughts, images, and feelings you habitually entertain. What you accept as true within your imagination will eventually solidify into your lived experience. This is the great mystery that few understand. Yet, it is the key to all success, happiness, and fulfillment. To master this truth, you must learn to live from the end. This means that you must assume in your imagination that you are already the person you wish to be. If you desire wealth, you must feel yourself to be wealthy now. If you seek love, you must dwell in the state of already being loved and cherished. You do not beg, plead, or chase after what you desire. You assume it is already yours. The world does not respond to desperate effort, but to the quiet certainty of inner conviction. Every invention, work of art, or great achievement began as an idea within someone's mind. The telephone, the airplane, the great cathedrals of the world, all were once invisible thoughts before they became physical reality. Those who created them did not dwell on their current limitations. They saw beyond what was and lived in the reality of what could be. The same principle applies to your life. If you wish to change your circumstances, you must first change the way you see yourself in imagination. Many will say, "But I cannot imagine something that is not yet real." To this I say, everything you now experience was once not real in your external world, yet it exists because you accepted it as possible. Your present conditions are merely the outpicturing of your past beliefs. If you can accept this, you will understand that the only way to change your future is to change what you accept as true in the present moment. Doubt is the only barrier to manifestation. If you waver in your assumption, constantly looking for evidence in the outer world before you believe, you will delay or even prevent your desire from materializing. The world is a mirror. It can only reflect what you hold within. Do not wait for proof. Live as though it is already done. Feel the joy, the relief, the excitement of having what you seek, and let that feeling saturate your being. This is not wishful thinking. It is the law of consciousness. What you persistently feel and assume to be true will inevitably become your reality. The only requirement is faith, the willingness to trust in the unseen, knowing that it must become seen. When you fully accept that imagination is the only reality, you free yourself from the illusion of limitation. You no longer react to the world you created. You step into your power as the divine being that you are. So I urge you, do not let the world tell you who you are. Do not be swayed by appearances. Instead, create from within. Imagine boldly, assume confidently, and persist unwaveringly, and lie from the end, and watch as the world bends to reflect your highest vision. Thinking alone is not enough. It is not enough to merely wish, to hope, or to visualize passively. The great secret of manifestation lies in feeling, for feeling is the language of creation. What you feel deeply and consistently is what you impress upon your subconscious mind, and once impressed, it must externalize itself as your reality. This is the law. Many people mistakenly believe that they must force change through sheer effort, through constant action in the outer world. But true transformation begins within. The subconscious mind does not respond to empty words or fleeting thoughts. it responds to emotion. It is only when you feel yourself to be already in possession of what you seek that your reality begins to shift. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. Consider for a moment how natural this process truly is. Have you ever had a dream so vivid, so emotionally charged, that it felt entirely real? In that moment while dreaming, you accepted it as true. Your heart raced, your body reacted, and your mind was fully immersed in the experience. It did not matter that you were lying in bed. Your emotions made it real to you. In the same way, if you can lose yourself in the assumption that your desire is already yours, if you can feel the reality of it now, the subconscious mind will accept it as fact. Your subconscious is impersonal. It does not judge whether something is good or bad, wanted or unwanted. It simply takes whatever feeling you consistently entertain and projects it outward as experience. This is why people who dwell in fear, worry, and lack continue to attract more of the same. They may desperately wish for abundance, for love, for success. But deep down, they feel the absence of these things. And because they feel lack more strongly than fulfillment, lack persists. To manifest what you desire, you must reverse this process. Instead of dwelling in the emotions of what you don't have, you must cultivate the feeling of already having it. Ask yourself, how would I feel if my desire were fulfilled right now? Not tomorrow, not someday, but in this very moment. Would you feel relief, gratitude, joy, peace? Find that feeling within yourself and hold on to it. Let it consume you until it becomes your dominant state. This is not a technique of force, but of surrender. You are not trying to convince yourself or struggle to believe. You are simply allowing yourself to experience in imagination the emotional reality of your fulfilled desire. The more real it feels, the faster it manifests. There is no need to worry about how it will come to pass. Your only job is to feel it as real, to impress it upon your subconscious, and to trust the unseen forces that bring it into being. Some may say, but how can I feel something that is not yet real? To them I say, every feeling is real the moment you feel it. You do not need external proof to justify an emotion. You can feel love without a person standing in front of you. You can feel wealth without money in your hands. You can feel success before the world recognizes it. The moment you allow yourself to dwell in that state, your outer world will begin to shift to match it. This is why faith is essential. You must persist in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even when outer circumstances seem unchanged. The world is simply a reflection of your past assumptions, and change takes time to crystallize. But if you remain steadfast in your feeling, never doubting, never looking for evidence, then your desire must come to pass. It is law. So do not merely think about what you want. Feel it. Become it in imagination. Let the joy, the peace, and the certainty of your fulfilled desire fill your entire being. And in time, you will see that what you once felt in imagination has become the undeniable reality of your life. Do not wait for the world to show you proof before you believe. If you do, you will remain trapped in a cycle of reacting to circumstances rather than creating them. The great secret to manifesting is to assume the wish fulfilled, to live in the feeling that your desire is already yours, even before the physical evidence appears. This is not a passive daydream, but a deliberate shift in consciousness, a way of being that transforms your world from within. Everything in your life right now is a reflection of your past assumption. The conditions you see before you, the relationships, the finances, the health, the successes or struggles, are simply the outpicturing of what you have previously assumed to be true. If you wish to change any aspect of your life, you must first change the assumptions that created it. The world does not shape your beliefs shape the world. Most people believe the opposite. They say, I will believe it when I see it, but this is the great illusion. You do not see first and then believe. You believe first and then you see. The unseen must be accepted as real before it can become visible. Every great achievement, every innovation, every transformation has come from someone who dared to assume it was possible before there was any proof. Assuming the wish fulfilled means walking through life as if your desire is already a fact. It means carrying yourself with the confidence, the peace, the joy of someone who already has what they want. If you desire wealth, do not dwell in thoughts of lack. Feel the security and ease of already being abundant. If you seek love, do not focus on loneliness. Feel the warmth and companionship of already being cherished. It is not about fooling yourself. It is about aligning with the reality you wish to experience. Your subconscious mind does not differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. It simply accepts whatever feeling you impress upon it as truth. If you consistently assume yourself to be healthy, successful, loved, and abundant, your subconscious will accept these assumptions and bring them forth into your reality. The world will bend to match your inner state, for it has no choice but to do so. Doubt is the only thing that can delay your manifestation. If you assume your wish fulfilled one moment, then question it the next. You are like a gardener who plants a seed, but keeps digging it up to see if it is growing. The seed needs time to take root. Likewise, your assumption needs time to solidify into form. Persist in the feeling of already having your desire, and the world will reshape itself accordingly. This is not a process of forcing or struggling. You do not need to chase after results or manipulate external circumstances. Your only task is to maintain the inner conviction that what you desire is already yours. The outer world is simply a mirror. It can only reflect back what you hold within. Change the inner and the outer must follow. Many will ask, but what if my current reality contradicts my assumption? Ignore it. Do not let appearances dictate your beliefs. The present moment is merely the result of past assumptions, and it has no power over what you are now creating. If you persist in the assumption of your wish fulfilled, the current reality must fade away to make room for the new. Assume boldly to walk in the knowing that what you desire is already a fact, and let the world prove you right, for it must. It is law. When you pray, do not pray as one who is begging, hoping, or wishing. Instead, pray as one who knows, one who understands that the prayer is already answered. The secret to manifestation is to live in the state of the answered prayer, to assume the feeling of already having that which you seek, and to let reality shape itself accordingly. Most people approach prayer as though they are separate from the very thing they desire. They ask and then wait, hoping that something or someone outside of them will grant their request. But true prayer is not about asking. It is about receiving. It is about assuming that what you seek is already yours and dwelling in that certainty. The mind often wants to concern itself with how things will unfold. It asks, where will the money come from? How will I meet the right person? When will my circumstances change? But the how is never your concern. The greater intelligence of life, the unseen power that governs all things, will orchestrate the means. Your only task is to remain steadfast in the state of fulfillment, to persist in the assumption that it is done. Consider a farmer who plants a seed. He does not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. He does not question whether the soil knows how to turn the seed into a tree. He trusts the process, knowing that nature will take care of the rest. In the same way, when you assume your wish fulfilled, you must trust that unseen forces are working on your behalf. The conditions, the people, the opportunities, everything required for the fulfillment of your desire will arrange itself in perfect order. You must dwell in the certainty that it already is. If you had already received your desire, how would you feel? How would you think? How would you act? Would you still worry? Would you still doubt? No. You would move through life with confidence, peace, and gratitude. This is the state you must embody now before the evidence appears. When you live in the state of the answered prayer, you become the thing you seek. You are no longer someone waiting for a change. You are the change. Your energy shifts, your actions align, and the world around you begins to mirror your new inner state. People are drawn to you, opportunities arise, and circumstances transform in ways you could never have predicted. But this requires faith, not faith in something outside of you, but faith in the power within you. The moment you surrender the need to control the process and instead rest in the knowing that your desire is already fulfilled, you free yourself from struggle. You move beyond doubt, beyond fear, beyond limitation. You step into the flow of life, allowing it to unfold effortlessly. This is why Scripture says, when you pray, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. It does not say to hope for it. It does not say to wait for it. It says to believe you have received it right now in this moment. This is the key. So let go of the need to figure it all out. Stop questioning, stop doubting, stop looking for signs. Simply be the person who already has what they desire. Feel the joy, the relief, the gratitude of the wish fulfilled. Make this your dwelling place, your natural state of being. And as surely as the sun rises, your world will shift to reflect your assumption. The world you see before you is nothing more than a reflection of your past assumptions, your past beliefs, and your past states of being. It is not permanent, nor is it a true representation of what is possible. The great mistake is to believe that what you currently experience in the 3D world is all that is real. To manifest your desires, you must persist in your assumption regardless of what your senses tell you. Most people are slaves to their circumstances. They look at what is in front of them and accept it as truth. If they see lack, they assume lack is all there is. If they see failure, they believe they are destined to fail. But this is not how creation works. The outer world is simply a delayed reflection of the inner world. To change the outer, you must first change the inner, and persist in that new assumption even when the 3D world seems unchanged. Faith is the ability to believe in what is unseen. It is the certainty that what you have assumed must come to pass. Yet faith is tested in moments when the physical world contradicts your inner vision. These moments are where most people give up. They say, nothing is changing. I don't see any results. Maybe this isn't working. And with that, they abandon the very state that would have brought their desire into form. You must refuse to let your senses dictate your beliefs. If you assume yourself to be wealthy, but your bank account shows a low balance, do not waver. If you assume yourself to be loved, but you are still single, do not despair. The 3D world is simply the result of past assumptions, and it takes time for the new state to materialize, but it must materialize if you persist. Think of a seed planted in the ground. If you were to dig it up every day to check if it was growing, you would disrupt the process and kill its potential. The same is true for your assumptions. You must assume your desire is real, and then allow it time to take root. The more you persist, the stronger that assumption becomes, until eventually it hardens into fact. It is easy to believe when things are going well, but the true test of faith is to remain steadfast even when the 3D world presents the opposite. Do not let fear, doubt, or external circumstances shake your belief. Your only job is to remain faithful to the unseen reality. Keep your mind fixed on the end result, and do not concern yourself with the how or when. Many great figures throughout history understood this principle. They were met with obstacles, ridicule, and apparent failure, yet they persisted in their inner conviction. They did not allow the world to dictate what they believed to be possible, and, because they held firm, the world eventually bent to match their vision. You too must have this kind of persistence. Walk through life with the certainty that your assumption is already fact, even when the outer world suggests otherwise. Speak, think, and act as though you already have what you desire. Do not let appearances fool you. The 3D world must change, but only if you do not give in to doubt. Most people delay their manifestations because they constantly react to their external circumstances. They check for evidence, then feel discouraged when they see none. But this very doubt reinforces the old state, keeping them trapped. Instead, persist in your assumption no matter what. Live in the end result and refuse to accept anything less as truth. Your faith must be greater than your senses. Your assumption must be stronger than the world's illusion. And when you master this, nothing will be impossible for you. The 3D world has no choice but to yield, for it is only a reflection of what you have persistently imagined. You are not separate from the divine. You are not a mere observer of life, subject to random circumstances and forces beyond your control. You are God's power in action, the creative force shaping your reality moment by moment. The greatest truth you can ever come to understand is that your awareness is the creator of your world. When you fully recognize this, nothing will be impossible for you. Most people go through life unaware of their own power. They believe themselves to be at the mercy of luck, fate, or the will of others. They see themselves as victims of circumstance rather than the architects of their reality. But this is a misunderstanding of the nature of creation. The external world does not create your experiences. Your consciousness does. What you assume, what you believe, what you persistently hold in your awareness is what becomes your life. This truth has been revealed throughout history, though few have grasped its full significance. When Scripture says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he," it is not merely a poetic phrase. It is a law. Whatever you accept as true within yourself must manifest outwardly. Your awareness is the seed and the world is the harvest. If you believe in limitation, you will see limitation everywhere. If you believe in abundance, abundance will appear in ways you could never have imagined. There is no power outside of you that determines your fate. You are the power. You do not need permission to create the life you desire. You do not need to struggle or beg for change. You simply need to recognize the truth of your own being. And this is the name of God, and it is your own divine identity. When you declare I am healthy, you set the creative power into motion. When you affirm I am wealthy, the forces of the universe begin to align. But if you say I am struggling, I am unworthy, I am failing, that too will be your experience. For the universe does not judge. It simply reflects back to you whatever you accept as real. You must take control of your inner world. Guard your thoughts, for they are the blueprint of your life. If you wish to see a new reality, you must first embody it in your mind. Feel yourself already in possession of what you desire. Walk through life with the certainty that it is already done. This is the great secret that those who awaken to their power come to understand. You do not become something you already are it. You simply awaken to the truth of your being. Many people doubt their power because they have spent years believing. Otherwise, they have been conditioned to think small, to accept struggle, to believe in lack. But no conditioning is greater than the truth of who you are. The moment you decide to step into your divine power, the old self begins to fade. Your reality will shift as your awareness shifts. Do not be deceived by appearances. The 3D world may tell you that things are difficult, that success is out of reach, that change is slow. But the 3D world is only a reflection of past assumptions. The moment you shift your awareness, a new reality is set in motion. Persist in that new state, and the world will conform. You are the power. You are the creator. There is nothing outside of you greater than the awareness within you. Live from this truth and no dream will be beyond your reach. Whatever you desire, whatever you long for, it is already yours the moment. You claim it as so, for you are God's power in action, shaping reality with every thought, every feeling, every assumption. Recognize this, and nothing will be impossible for you. Everything you seek, everything you long for, already exists within you. The world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Your awareness is the creative force shaping your reality. And once you fully accept this truth, you will no longer live as a victim of circumstances. You will step into your divine power, knowing that what you assume, feel, and persist in must become your experience. There is no need to struggle, chase, or beg. Simply assume the wish fulfilled. Feel its reality now. Live in the state of the answered prayer. Ignore the 3D world when it contradicts your desire and persist in your assumption until it hardens into. In fact, you are not separate from the divine. You are the divine in action. Your only task is to recognize this truth and live by it. Walk forward with unwavering faith, knowing that the world will rearrange itself to reflect your inner conviction. There is nothing outside of you that holds power over your destiny. You are the power, and when you fully embrace this, nothing will be impossible for you. Thank you for listening, and may you step boldly into the life that is already yours.
Good evening, my friends. Tonight I am going to reveal the single most destructive assumption that ruins more manifestations than any other. Tonight I am going to expose the hidden belief that keeps your desires forever out of reach, even when you think you are doing everything right. This assumption hides in the shadows of your consciousness. You may not even know you hold it, but it is there, quietly sabotaging every technique you practice, every visualization you perform, every affirmation you speak. What is this hidden assumption? It is the belief that your desire is too good to be true. Tonight you will learn how this insidious belief operates. You will learn how to recognize it in yourself. And most importantly, you will learn how to eliminate it completely and replace it with the assumption that allows your desires to manifest effortlessly. Are you ready to destroy the belief that has been destroying your manifestations? Then let us begin. Let me show you how this assumption reveals itself. You desire something wonderful: wealth, love, health, success, freedom. You begin to imagine it. You feel into it. You start to assume you have it. And then quietly, subtly, almost imperceptibly, a thought whispers, "This is too good to be true." Maybe you do not think those exact words. Maybe the thought comes disguised. "This seems impossible for someone like me. Things like this don't happen to people like me. This is too much to ask for. I don't deserve something this good. Life doesn't work this way. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is." These are all variations of the same poisonous assumption. Your desire is too good to be true. It is too wonderful, too perfect, too extraordinary to be real, and therefore it cannot be yours. This belief is deadly. Why? Because it is an assumption, and all assumptions harden into facts. When you assume something is too good to be true, you are assuming it is not true. You are dwelling in the state of "this is impossible for me." You are occupying the consciousness of limitation, unworthiness, and disbelief. And consciousness creates from the state you occupy. If you dwell in "too good to be true," consciousness creates circumstances that confirm your assumption. Your desire remains forever out of reach, not because it is actually impossible, but because you assumed it was impossible. Let me show you how this destructive assumption gets installed in your consciousness. From childhood, you were taught that life is hard, that good things are rare, that you must struggle and sacrifice to get anything of value, that if something seems too easy or too wonderful, there must be a catch. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. How many times have you heard this? How many times have you repeated it yourself? This saying seems like practical wisdom. It seems like it is protecting you from disappointment, from being fooled, from setting yourself up for failure. But what it actually does is program your consciousness to reject anything wonderful. It teaches you to distrust good fortune. It trains you to assume that the extraordinary is impossible for you. You were also taught comparison. You looked at others who had what you desired, and you were told, or you told yourself, that is for them, not for me. They are special. They are lucky. They are different. I am ordinary. I am unlucky. I am not worthy of such things. And through years of repetition, through countless moments of doubt and self-limitation, this assumption became embedded in your consciousness. Good things are for other people. Extraordinary things are too good to be true for me. Now, whenever you try to manifest something wonderful, this hidden assumption activates. It whispers its poison. It sabotages your techniques. It keeps you in the state of lack even while you are trying to assume abundance. Let me show you exactly how this belief destroys your manifestations. You practice the techniques perfectly. You visualize your desire. You feel yourself living in your wish fulfilled. For 20 minutes, you are in the most beautiful state of consciousness. You feel wealthy, loved, successful, free. Then you open your eyes. You return to your daily life. And immediately that whisper comes. That was nice, but it is too good to be true. That level of abundance doesn't happen to people like me. I was just fantasizing. In that moment, you have undone your entire practice. You have collapsed back into the state of lack. You have affirmed that your desire is impossible. You have chosen the assumption of limitation over the assumption of fulfillment. Or perhaps you practice your assumption during the day. You think from the state of having your desire, you affirm I am wealthy, or I am loved, or I am successful. But underneath, hidden beneath the surface is the contradictory belief that this is too good to be true for me. Your conscious mind says I am wealthy. Your subconscious whispers, but not really. This is too good to be true. And which assumption wins? The deeper one, the hidden one, the one you truly believe in your subconscious. This is why people can practice techniques for years without results. They are assuming their desire on the surface, while simultaneously assuming it is impossible beneath the surface. The hidden assumption of too good to be true is stronger than the conscious assumption of fulfillment. Here is the terrible irony. When you assume something is too good to be true, you make it too good to be true. Not because it actually is impossible, but because your assumption creates impossibility. Let me explain. In consciousness, there is no such thing as too good to be true. There are only assumptions, and assumptions become facts. If you assume you can have something, you can have it. If you assume you cannot have something, you cannot have it. The universe does not judge whether your desire is too good. It simply manifests your assumptions. So when you assume your desire is too good to be true, the universe says, okay, it is too good to be true for you, and creates circumstances that match your assumption. But here is what you must understand. That same desire is not too good to be true for someone else who does not hold that limiting assumption. Why do some people manifest extraordinary wealth while others struggle in poverty? Same universe, same laws, same possibilities. The difference is assumption. The wealthy person does not assume wealth is too good to be true. They assume wealth is natural, normal, expected for them. Why do some people effortlessly attract love while others remain lonely? The difference is assumption. The loved person does not assume love is too good to be true. They assume love is their natural state. Your desires are not too good to be true. But if you assume they are, they become too good to be true for you. And that is the tragedy. Let me give you a simple test to see if this hidden assumption is sabotaging your manifestations. Think about your desire right now. Picture it clearly. See yourself having it, living it, being it. Now notice, what is the very first feeling that arises? Is it peace, satisfaction, natural acceptance, or is it a slight discomfort, a whisper of this is too much, a feeling of this is not really for me? If you feel any resistance, any sense that your desire is somehow beyond you, too extraordinary for you, not meant for you, you are holding the too good to be true assumption. Here's another test. Imagine someone else having your exact desire. Picture them living in abundance, being loved, experiencing perfect health, enjoying complete success. Now notice, do you feel that is natural and acceptable for them, or do you think, well, they are different? They are special. They are worthy. But I am not. If you can easily imagine others having what you desire, but you struggle to imagine yourself having it, you are holding the limiting assumption. One more test. Complete this sentence honestly. My desire is wonderful, but whatever comes after but is your hidden sabotaging assumption. My desire is wonderful, but it is too much to ask for. My desire is wonderful, but people like me don't get things like this. My desire is wonderful, but I don't deserve it. My desire is wonderful, but it is not realistic. That but reveals the poison. That but is the assumption that sabotages everything. Now let me give you the truth that destroys this limiting belief. Nothing is too good to be true. Nothing. In consciousness, in the infinite field of possibility, in the dimension where all creation happens, there is no such thing as too good. Wealth is not too good. Love is not too good. Health is not too good. Success is not too good. Perfect happiness is not too good. Complete freedom is not too good. These are all simply states of consciousness, and all states of consciousness are equally available to you. None is more real or more possible than another. None is too good for you. Think about this. You exist. You are consciousness. You are the operant power in your world. You create your reality through your assumptions. Is there a limit on what consciousness can create? Is there a ceiling on what assumptions can manifest? Is there a point where something becomes too good for consciousness to produce? No. Consciousness is infinite. Consciousness is unlimited. Consciousness is God. And to God, nothing is too good to be true. You are not asking for something outside the realm of possibility. You are not trying to create something too wonderful for existence. You are simply choosing which of the infinite possibilities to experience. And all possibilities, from poverty to wealth, from loneliness to love, from sickness to health, are equally possible. None is too good. None is beyond you. Now let me teach you how to completely eliminate this sabotaging assumption and replace it with the truth. Step 1. Expose it. The first step is bringing the hidden assumption into the light. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. Say out loud, I have been assuming my desire is too good to be true. I have been believing that this level of goodness is not possible for me. I see this belief now, and I recognize it is just an assumption, not truth, just assumption. Do not judge yourself for holding this belief. Do not feel shame or guilt. Simply observe it with clarity. Ah, there it is. That is the assumption that has been sabotaging me. Step 2. Recognize it as learned, not truth. Remind yourself this belief that my desire is too good to be true is not reality. It is something I learned. It was programmed into me by society, by authority figures, by past experiences, but it is not truth. It is just an assumption I adopted. This is crucial. When you realize this belief is learned, you realize it can be unlearned. It is not an eternal truth. It is not a law of the universe. It is just a thought pattern you picked up and you can put it down. Step 3. Declare the opposite. Now, consciously choose a new assumption to replace the old one. Say with absolute conviction, nothing is too good to be true for me. I am consciousness. I am the operant power. All states are equally available to me. My desire is not too good. It is perfectly natural for me to have it. Repeat this. Say it morning and evening. Say it whenever the old assumption tries to return. You are reprogramming your consciousness with a new truth. Step 4. Find evidence in imagination. Your subconscious believes what it experiences. So give it experiences of your desire being true. Every night, imagine yourself having your desire. But as you imagine, notice the feeling that arises. If you feel this is too good, stop and correct it. Say to yourself, this is not too good. This is exactly right for me. This is natural. This is true for me in consciousness. Then return to the imaginal act with this corrected assumption. Feel your desire as natural, normal, completely appropriate for you. The more you experience your desire in imagination without the too good resistance, the more your subconscious accepts it as possible and natural. Step 5. Affirm your worthiness. Often too good to be true is really too good for me. It is a worthiness issue disguised as a reality issue. So address it directly. I am worthy of all good things. I am deserving of extraordinary blessings. I am consciousness itself, and consciousness has no limit on what it can create for itself. I am worthy because I am. This is not arrogance. This is recognition of your true nature. You are not a limited human begging for scraps. You are infinite consciousness, and infinite consciousness is worthy of infinite good. Step 6. Practice with small things first. If your desire feels too overwhelming, if the too good feeling is too strong, start smaller. Assume something wonderful but less overwhelming. Experience it manifesting. Let your consciousness see, oh, good things can happen for me. This is possible. Then gradually expand. Assume bigger and bigger desires. Train your consciousness to accept that nothing is too good for you. Step 7. Revise past rejections. Think back to times when you rejected good things because they seemed too good to be true. Maybe someone complimented you and you dismissed it. Maybe an opportunity appeared and you doubted it. Maybe you felt unworthy of love, wealth, or success and pushed it away. Revise these moments. Replay them in imagination, but this time you accept the good, you believe the compliment. You trust the opportunity. You know you are worthy. This revision rewrites your history and dissolves the pattern of rejecting good. Now let me give you the assumption that replaces too good to be true. Your new assumption is this. This desire is not too good to be true. This desire was made for me. It is perfectly designed for me. It is exactly right for me, and I am exactly right for it. Feel the difference in this assumption. Not maybe I can have it if I am lucky. Not this is too good but I will try anyway. But this is mine. It was made for me. Of course I have it. This is the assumption of natural possession. Not grasping, not hoping, but knowing. This is mine because it is made for me. When you hold this assumption, the resistance dissolves. The too good feeling disappears. You simply accept your desire the way you accept your own name as natural, obvious, completely appropriate. Let me address another aspect of this belief. Many people assume that if something is good, it must be hard to get. If it comes easily, it must not be valuable. This is another variation of too good to be true. It says good things require struggle. If my desire manifests easily, it is too good to be true. But this is backwards. Consciousness does not require struggle. Consciousness creates effortlessly. Think about how easily you create negative things. You assume something bad will happen and it manifests quickly with no effort. You worry and circumstances arise to match your worry. This happens easily, naturally, automatically. So why would positive things be any different? Why would wealth, love, health, and success require more effort than poverty, loneliness, sickness, and failure? They do not. All creation happens through assumption. An assumption is effortless. You either assume something or you do not. There is no struggle required. When your desire manifests easily, it is not too good to be true. It is consciousness operating as consciousness always operates, effortlessly creating what you assume. Let me tell you about a man who finally broke through this limiting belief. He desired significant wealth. He practiced techniques for 2 years. He visualized, he affirmed, he did sats nightly, but nothing happened. He came to me frustrated. I am doing everything you teach, he said. Why is this not working? I asked him to imagine his desire. I told him to picture himself wealthy, living in abundance, completely free financially. He closed his eyes. He visualized. After a moment I said, now what are you feeling? He opened his eyes. I feel uncomfortable. It feels too big, too much. Like I am imagining someone else's life, not mine. Ah, I said. There it is. You assume wealth is too good to be true for you. Every time you practice your techniques, this assumption undermines them. He was shocked. He had not realized. This belief was operating beneath his conscious practice. I taught him what I am teaching you tonight. I showed him how to expose the belief, challenge it and replace it. Every night he practiced imagining wealth. But now whenever the too good feeling arose, he stopped and said, no, this is not too good. This is exactly right for me. Wealth is natural for me. I am worthy of this. This is mine. He persisted in this for 3 weeks, and something shifted. The resistance dissolved. Wealth stopped feeling too big, too much, too good. It started feeling natural. 1 month later, an unexpected opportunity appeared. A business idea that had been sitting dormant suddenly found investors. Within 6 months, he had the financial abundance he had been desiring for years. And when I asked him what changed, he said, I stopped believing my desire was too good to be true. I started knowing it was exactly right for me. And once I made that shift internally, everything shifted externally. Let me show you how to recognize when this assumption is active so you can catch it and correct it immediately. Sign number 1. You discount compliments or good fortune. Someone tells you you are talented, beautiful, brilliant. You immediately think they are just being nice or they don't really mean it. This is the too good to be true assumption. You cannot accept something good about yourself because you assume good things are not really true for you. Sign number 2. You feel uncomfortable imagining your desire fulfilled. When you visualize your desire, you feel awkward, silly, or like you are pretending. This is the assumption that your desire is too extraordinary for you. Sign number 3. You immediately think of reasons why it will not work. You imagine your desire, and your mind immediately jumps to all the obstacles, all the reasons it is impossible, all the ways it could fail. This is too good to be true, disguised as realism. You are rejecting your desire before you even give it a chance. Sign number 4. You can accept it for others, but not yourself. You see someone living your desired life, and you think good for them. But you do not think that is available for me too. This is the assumption that good things are for other people, not for you. Sign number 5. You qualify your desire with but. I would love to be wealthy, but. I desire this relationship, but. I want perfect health, but. Every but is the too good to be true assumption undermining your desire. Catch these patterns. The moment you notice them, stop and correct. No, this is true for me. This is possible for me. This is mine. Here is the ultimate truth about too good to be true. The phrase itself is meaningless in consciousness. Good is subjective. What you call good, consciousness calls a state. What you call too good, consciousness calls another state. Consciousness does not evaluate whether something is too good. Consciousness simply creates whatever state you assume. If you assume a state you call too good, consciousness creates it, just as easily as it creates a state you call acceptable or realistic. The only thing preventing you from experiencing extraordinary good is your assumption that it is too extraordinary for you. Remove that assumption, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing, standing between you and your desire. Let me give you a declaration to repeat daily. Until this new assumption is deeply rooted, nothing is too good to be true for me. I am consciousness, and consciousness has no limits. All states are equally available to me. My desires are not too much, too big, or too extraordinary. They are perfectly natural for me to experience. I am worthy of infinite good because I am infinite consciousness. I now accept all the wonderful things that are mine. They are not too good to be true. They are exactly right for me. Say this every morning when you wake. Say it every night before sleep. Say it whenever the old assumption tries to return. You are reprogramming your consciousness. You are installing a new truth that allows your desires to manifest effortlessly. Tonight, before you fall asleep, I want you to do something specific. Imagine your desire fulfilled. See yourself having it, living it, being it. Make it vivid and real. Now, notice if the too good to be true feeling arises. If it does, stop immediately. Say firmly, This is not too good to be true. This is natural for me. This is mine. I accept this as my reality. Then return to your imaginal act with this corrected assumption. Feel your desire as natural, obvious, completely appropriate for you. Fall asleep in this state. Not hoping it might be true, but knowing it is true. Not wishing it could be yours, but accepting it already is yours. Do this every night, and throughout your day catch every thought that suggests your desire is too good for you. Correct it immediately. Replace it with the truth. The only thing that makes something too good to be true is your assumption that it is too good to be true. Remove that assumption and you remove the limitation. Your desires are not too good. They are not too extraordinary. They are not beyond you. They are perfectly natural states of consciousness. And you are consciousness, therefore they are yours for the assuming. Stop sabotaging yourself with this hidden belief. Expose it, challenge it, replace it, and watch as the desires you thought were too good to be true become your everyday reality, because they were never too good. They were always yours. Thank you, and good evening. As always, thank you for joining me on this journey into the depths of consciousness. Remember, you are not here by accident. You are here because your soul is ready for this truth. Take these teachings and let them transform not just your mind, but your entire reality. Until we meet again in consciousness, keep assuming your greatness and living from the end of your desires. This is Best of Lectures, and I will see you in the next video.
Tonight, I want to share with you something that will revolutionize your entire understanding of wealth. You see, my friends, we've been living under a grand illusion. From the cradle to the grave, we're taught that money is something out there, something we must chase, fight for, and earn through blood, sweat, and tears. But what if I told you this very belief is the prison that keeps you poor? I remember a man who came to me, absolutely desperate. He said, "Neville, I work 16 hours a day. I've read every financial book. I've tried every investment strategy, yet I'm still drowning in debt. What am I doing wrong?" And I said to him what I'm saying to you now. You're trying to get from the outside what can only come from within. This man had fallen victim to the greatest lie ever told about money, that it comes from effort alone. But effort without the proper state of consciousness is like rowing against the tide. You exhaust yourself while making little progress. Listen carefully to this truth. Money is not a thing. It is a reflection. It reflects, with perfect accuracy, your inner conviction about your own worth. You think you're poor because you lack money. But the truth is far more profound. You lack money because you feel poor within yourself. The external world is nothing but a mirror, showing you exactly what you believe about yourself deep down. Every morning when you wake up, you're either reinforcing poverty consciousness or wealth consciousness. There is no neutral ground. You're always assuming something about yourself in relation to money. But here's where it gets interesting. There was once a manuscript written by a man who lost everything in a financial collapse. But instead of trying to rebuild his fortune through conventional means, he did something extraordinary. He spent 7 years studying not the mechanics of money, but its spiritual nature. What he discovered was so revolutionary that those who first read it tried to keep it secret. They realized this knowledge was too powerful to share freely. But tonight, I'm sharing it with you. This man discovered that money obeys the same laws as everything else in creation. It responds to consciousness, to assumption, to the feeling of already having what you desire. The first law this man discovered is this. Money flows to those who assume they are wealthy, not to those who work to become wealthy. Let me explain what I mean by assume. When I say assume, I don't mean pretend or hope or wish. I mean to take for granted as true, to live from the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Most people live from their current circumstances. They look at their bank account and say, "I am poor." Then they try to work their way out of poverty. But this approach guarantees failure because they're creating from poverty consciousness. You see, when you assume you are poor, you think poor thoughts, make poor decisions, and radiate poor energy. The world responds accordingly. But what if you dared to reverse this process? Here's what the truly wealthy understand. You must first become wealthy in consciousness before you can have wealth in your bank account. This isn't positive thinking or visualization. This is a complete reversal of how you approach reality itself. Instead of saying, "I'll be happy when I'm rich," you must learn to say, "I am rich, therefore I am happy." Can you feel the difference in these two statements? The first keeps wealth perpetually in the future. The second brings it into the present moment, where all power exists. Now, let me teach you something crucial about cultivating the feeling of wealth. This is not about pretending you have money when you don't. This is about capturing the essence of what it feels like to be a wealthy person. Close your eyes and remember a time, any time, when you felt completely secure financially. Perhaps it was when you received an unexpected check, or when you had just been paid and all your bills were covered. Do you remember that feeling of relief, of breathing easily? That is the feeling we want to cultivate and expand. But let me go deeper. Wealth isn't just about having money. It's about having a particular relationship with money. A wealthy person doesn't worry about money. They don't check their account balance with anxiety. They don't make decisions from fear of loss. Instead, they operate from a fundamental assumption of sufficiency. They know they're absolutely sure that there will always be enough. Now, I want you to do something with me. Close your eyes, if you're in a safe place to do so. Imagine you're checking your bank account right now, and instead of that familiar knot of anxiety in your stomach, you feel calm, satisfaction. Not excitement, not surprise, just the quiet confidence of someone who has always had enough. How would you walk differently? How would you speak to people? What decisions would you make from this state of consciousness? Notice how a wealthy person enters a room. They don't apologize for their presence. They don't shrink or make themselves small. There's a natural dignity, a quiet authority that comes from inner security. This feeling, this is your true nature. The struggle is the aberration. But before we can fully embrace wealth consciousness, we must understand how deeply poverty programming runs in our society. We're bombarded with beliefs that poison our relationship with money. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. You have to work hard for everything. There's not enough to go around. Money is the root of all evil. These statements, repeated millions of times, become the invisible bars of our financial prison. But here's what you must understand. Every single one of these beliefs is a lie. Money is energy. It's neither good nor evil. It simply flows toward those who are in harmony with its nature. Here's something that will shock you. The people who struggle hardest for money are often the ones who repel it most effectively. Why? Because struggle implies lack. When you struggle for something, you're affirming that you don't have it. And the universe, which is nothing but consciousness itself, responds to your assumption of lack by giving you more experiences of lacking. I once knew a woman who worked 3 jobs and still couldn't make ends meet. She would say, "I have to work so hard just to survive." And the universe, being the perfect mirror, said, "Yes, you do," and arranged circumstances to make this true. But listen to this carefully. A truly wealthy man once told me his secret. He said, "Neville, I never work for money. I work from money. I assume I already have everything I need, and then I act from that assumption." Do you see the difference? Working for money assumes you don't have it. Working for money assumes you do. This shift in assumption changes everything. Your decisions, your opportunities, your very presence in the world. When you work for money, you make different choices. You invest in yourself. You take calculated risks. You don't accept less than your worth. You operate from abundance, not scarcity. One of the most powerful ways to transform your wealth consciousness is to change your language about money. Your words are not just sounds. They are creative forces that shape your reality. Instead of saying, "I can't afford it," say, "How can I afford it?" Money is tight. Say, "Money is flowing." I'm broke. Say, "I'm rebuilding my wealth." I'll never have enough. Say, "There's always enough for what I truly need." Rich people are lucky. Say, "Wealth is a natural result of right thinking." Notice how different these statements feel in your body. The first set creates contraction, anxiety, limitation. The second set creates expansion, possibility, hope. Your subconscious mind is listening to every word you say about money. It takes your statements as commands and works to make them true. Now, let me share with you the fundamental mindset shifts that separate the wealthy from the poor. Number 1. Shifting from scarcity to abundance. Poor people believe there's not enough to go around. Rich people know that abundance is the natural state of the universe. Number 2. Shifting from earning to receiving. Poor people think they must earn everything through effort. Wealthy people understand that the universe is always trying to give them what they need. Number 3. Shifting from fear to faith. Poor people make decisions based on what they might lose. Rich people make decisions based on what they might gain. And number 4. Shifting from victim to creator. Poor people blame circumstances for their financial situation. Wealthy people take responsibility for creating their reality. Now, let me share with you a practical method, a 7-day process that can fundamentally alter your relationship with wealth. Day 1. Be the observer. Observe without judgment every thought and feeling you have about money. Don't change anything, just watch. Notice how often you think about lack versus abundance. Notice the emotions that arise when you think about money. This awareness is the first step to transformation. Day 2. Be the linguist. Begin to notice the language you use about money. Stop saying, "I can't afford it," and start asking, "How can I afford this?" Replace every limiting statement with an empowering one. Your words are spells. Cast them wisely. Day 3. Be the wealthy person. Practice the feeling of wealth for just 10 minutes. Sit quietly and assume you already have everything you desire. Don't visualize. Feel it. Feel the security, the freedom, the possibilities that wealth brings. Day 4. Be the decision maker. Make one decision from abundance rather than scarcity. No matter how small. Maybe it's buying the more expensive food instead of the cheaper option. Maybe it's investing in a course that could improve your skills. Act as a wealthy person would act. Day 5. Be the giver. Give something away, time, money, or attention, from a feeling of having plenty. Wealthy people are natural givers because they know there's always more where that came from. Day 6. Be the self-honorer. Treat yourself as someone wealthy would treat themselves, within your current means. Maybe it's taking yourself to a nice restaurant, or buying yourself flowers, or getting a massage. Honor yourself as valuable. Day 7. Be the new identity. Live the entire day as if your financial problems were already solved. How would you walk? How would you talk? What would you focus on? Embody this new identity completely. Let me teach you a specific meditation technique that will reprogram your subconscious for wealth. I call it the Millionaire's Mind Meditation. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Now imagine you're waking up in your ideal home, a home that reflects your wealth. Feel the quality of the sheets, the spaciousness of the room, the morning light streaming through expensive windows. You check your investment portfolio. Instead of anxiety, you feel satisfaction at the steady growth of your wealth. You go to your closet, filled with beautiful, high-quality clothes. You dress not from necessity, but from choice. You go to breakfast and don't look at prices on the menu. You order what you want, because money is not a constraint. Throughout this meditation, focus on the feeling more than the details. The feeling of security, of having choices, of not worrying about money. Practice this meditation daily, and you'll begin to reprogram your subconscious mind to expect wealth rather than struggle. Now here's perhaps the most important thing I'll tell you tonight. Wealth flows to those who know how to receive, not to those who know how to struggle. We've been programmed to believe that anything of value must be earned through suffering. But this is the thinking of slaves, not kings. A king doesn't struggle for his wealth. He assumes it. He doesn't chase money. He attracts it through his very being. But here's what most people don't understand about receiving. It's an active state, not a passive one. To receive wealth, you must open yourself to it. You must expect it. You must believe you deserve it. Many people push away wealth because deep down they don't feel worthy of it. They sabotage opportunities because they believe they don't deserve success. Understand this. Your true identity is unlimited abundance. The question isn't, how do I get rich? The question is, who do I assume myself to be? Are you someone who struggles for every penny, or are you someone who naturally attracts abundance? Your current bank account reflects your answer to this question with mathematical precision. But here's the beautiful truth. You can change your identity in this moment. You don't have to wait for external circumstances to change. You can decide right now to be a wealthy person who temporarily has limited funds rather than a poor person trying to get rich. Let me teach you how to think like a millionaire. Even if you currently have $10 to your name, a millionaire wakes up in the morning with a fundamental assumption. I am the kind of person who has more than enough. They don't hope for this. They know it. They don't work toward this. They work from this assumption. When making decisions, they don't operate from fear of loss. They operate from expectation of gain. They don't count their money obsessively. They invest it, multiply it, use it as a tool for creating more value in the world. They don't see other wealthy people as competition. They see them as confirmation that wealth is possible. This is not about the money in their account. This is about the consciousness they embody. And here's something profound that happens when you truly embody wealth consciousness. Your desires transform. You stop wanting money for its own sake and start seeing it as a tool for expression and service. A person operating from poverty consciousness wants money to solve their problems, to make them feel secure, to prove their worth. A person operating from wealth consciousness wants money to express their vision, to serve others, to create beauty and value in the world. This shift in the nature of your desire completely changes your relationship with money. It transforms money from something you need to something you use. And now, the greatest secret of all. You don't become wealthy by accumulating money. You become wealthy by assuming wealth. The money is simply the inevitable reflection of your assumption. This is why lottery winners often lose their fortunes. They have money, but lack wealth consciousness. And this is why some people can start with nothing and build empires. They have wealth consciousness regardless of their circumstances. Wealth consciousness is a state of being, not a bank balance. It's a way of thinking, feeling, and moving through the world. It's an assumption about your own value and your relationship to universal abundance. When you truly understand these principles, something miraculous happens. Financial anxiety dies, not because your problems are solved, but because you realize you have the power to solve them. You stop checking your bank balance with fear and start checking it with curiosity. You stop worrying about bills and start planning for abundance. You stop living from paycheck to paycheck and start thinking in terms of wealth accumulation. This isn't denial or fantasy. This is a fundamental shift in consciousness that changes everything. Tonight, before you sleep, I want you to make this declaration, not as a hope or a wish, but as a recognition of truth. I am the kind of person who has more than enough. Money flows to me easily and naturally, because this is my true nature. I no longer struggle for abundance. I simply assume it. I release all limiting beliefs about money. I reject the programming of scarcity. I choose to live from wealth consciousness, regardless of my current circumstances. I am valuable. I am worthy. I am naturally abundant. This is who I am. And if you're truly serious about transforming your relationship with money, I challenge you to live from wealth consciousness for the next 30 days, regardless of your circumstances. For 30 days, make every decision as a wealthy person would make it. Speak about money only in positive terms. Assume that prosperity is your natural state. Don't wait for evidence. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for your bank account to change. Start now, in this moment, with the consciousness you choose to embody. When you transform your relationship with money, you don't just change your own life. You change the lives of everyone around you. Your children will absorb wealth consciousness instead of poverty programming. Your friends will be inspired by your transformation. Your community will benefit from your prosperity. You become a living example that abundance is possible, that struggle is not necessary, that wealth is a birthright, not a privilege. You have a choice to make tonight. You can continue living from your current circumstances, looking at what is and saying, "This is who I am." Or you can dare to live from your imagination, feeling what it would be like to be the person you want to be, and letting that feeling guide you into a new reality. The choice is yours. But remember, whatever you assume to be true about yourself will inevitably manifest in your world. Assume wealth, and wealth will come. Assume struggle, and struggle will persist. The power has always been within you. Tonight, you simply remember how to use it. Money, my friends, is not your enemy. It's not scarce. It's not hard to get. Money is simply a symbol of your assumption about your own worth, your own value, your own deserving. Change the assumption, and you change the symbol. Live from the feeling of already having what you desire, and watch as the world rearranges itself to match your assumption. This is the law. This is the way. This is your inheritance. The universe is abundant beyond your wildest dreams. There is enough for everyone. There is enough for you. Stop fighting for crumbs when you could be feasting at the banquet of life. Stop begging for prosperity when you could be claiming your birthright. Stop living as a victim of circumstances when you could be living as the creator of your reality. Tonight, you choose. Tonight, you decide. Tonight, you assume your true identity as a naturally prosperous being. Claim it, live it, be it. The kingdom of heaven, which is wealth consciousness, is within you. It always has been. You need only recognize it, embrace it, and live from it. Your wealth is not coming to you. Your wealth is you. Remember this, and you will never be poor again.